Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to Table Moments Live. I'm your host and Captain Ayman. I was thinking about starting this with music as I normally do or sometimes do, but I upgraded the mic. Got this new thing over here, which is a dynamic microphone, essentially meaning like you have to get really close to it in order for anything to hear. So the way I was playing the music before was literally just putting the microphone in front of the MacBook speakers and playing it. So now I gotta learn. I gotta figure out a way to play stuff on here, or maybe I gotta upgrade to OBS or something. But hey, figuring it out as I go along. And I'm unbanned from TikTok. It was a week suspension for misinformation. They say, and I appealed it. They said they were going to give me a review within 24 hours, and I never heard anything back. So I'm guessing TikTok fired those people, like a lot of tech companies have fired a bunch of people. And the people you fire first are the people who aren't essential. And I don't think content moderation is an essential part of social media platforms. Unfortunately, let me check the sound here. Um, all right, yeah, it sounds good. I hope it's loud enough. Cool. Cool. Let's see. Let me adjust the settings here. I just want to make sure I'm testing. If you have any comments on that, please leave it in the. I got the mic volume all the way up to 180. I don't know if it's a percentage or anything, but yeah. All right, let me turn off this. What time now? Yeah, what time are we going live now? Uh, all right. Yeah. So I have a few topics prepared for this week. Yeah, I think maybe Tuesdays make more sense because Mondays after Sunday, I don't know. I'll just test every day of the week to see what the new day should be. Like Sunday is the day of rest. I know traditionally in the past, biblically maybe it wasn't, but whatever. It is what it is now. So that's what I'm sticking with, and or at least I'm gonna experiment with that. Sundays are cool, but I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to observe. Is what I'm saying. All right. So some topics. I have some updates about the wallets I've been selling. So that's been good and bad. Some good things, some bad things. Social media money. It's a video I posted where I talk about how these social platforms, whatever money you can make on social media, it's not reliable. It's not reliable income. I've made a significant amount, but nothing that would replace a job or a business, which is why I continue to sell the wallets. And now it's weird, like exploring this whole e-commerce path. I'm discovering all these problems with business, at least at this scale, that can easily be solved with some software. So I actually started looking heavy into USPS intelligent mail barcode system. Weirdly enough, to be able to track this stuff because these wallets have been taking a while to arrive and I can't give any status updates because it has no tracking on it. Why don't you include some tracking information? That's $4, bro. $4 I have to add to what either the customer pays or I have to take out of the margin for the product. Either way, I don't like them. I don't like those solutions. So instead, I've been looking into the intelligent mail barcode system that USPS uses typically for magazines, business mailers. The bigger businesses use this to make sure that their mailings are going out. Or like postcards, if you ever get in junk mail, you'll see it. It's usually above or below the address, it's usually 65 lines, vertical lines. And my idea is to use it for the stuff I sell. So specifically these wallets that I put in these envelopes. I don't have one, but basically I've been using this to track, and I've been using their online encoder to generate these barcodes, but I would like it as simple as it's in the Shopify app, which is what I use to host the e-commerce website for this. And then it would be cool just go into the customer and click print envelope, and it already has the barcode generated. It has their name, their address in the right place. It has the return address for me on there, and it has the logo on there. And then I can automatically just print it directly just to streamline this whole thing instead of having to like type it in to this encoder form that USPS has and then copy and paste it and all that stuff. It's just like a small little detail, but that's enough. And like there are people who provide this service online, but they charge 18 cents minimum or maximum. That's the minimum you could pay, but you have to order a bunch of, I don't know. It's just these legacy software companies who actually do this for small businesses, and they are archaic. And I just want to integrate it in Shopify. So I've been looking into that and trying to understand the math behind it, because it uses this whole like bitwise operations, and like to take a tracking number and routing number, which is composed of a mailer. I could go deep into it, and I learn this stuff all the time, just exploring, letting my curiosity go wherever it goes. And that's the cool thing. My girl said maybe I should like find a way to share this with people. I don't know what that would look like, but if you guys are interested, I don't want to do a newsletter because emails are boring, and that's more work. And I'm so slow with getting content out anyways, as far as like long form stuff. So I don't know if a newsletter makes sense. And I want to make it free too. I think information should be free. And I don't like this idea that like everything has to be a course these days. Like, I get it. You know, if you're able to capitalize on the course, you can make your money. But most people who sell courses know that 80% of the people who buy their course will never implement the stuff, but they don't care. But to me, it's just like, all right, so you're taking advantage of people's perceptions of themselves, thinking that they will actually put in the work, and then you get a bag off of them. For the 20%, it is actually useful. But the 80% who don't, it's just like, yeah, I get it. It's free money essentially once you make that course, but I don't know. It's just lazy ways to make. I don't know. I was thinking about this. Like, easy money has a lot of temptation behind it, you know. And I don't even care about money like that. But like easy money, like think course, sell a BS course, or usually selling attention or clout. I don't know. I have a lot of strong opinions about this content creation stuff too, because a lot of people exploit others to get the bag. And then on top of like, it's sort of the same realm as like adult work or OF and all that stuff. And I'm just like, you know, when you take the easy money path, it doesn't mean that you can actually create real value in the world. It just means you've convinced people that you have, and they've given you money in exchange for that. Just because they've given you money doesn't mean it's necessarily real value in the world. And so that's the thing I've been wrestling with lately. And I'm about that hard money, hard money gang over here. I like that whatever I earn by actually making real value out here. So as far as the social media money is concerned, which is a topic I wrote and I made a video about, it's not real money. It's play around money for me. Like, I'm probably just going to put it back into content or donate it maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I don't think of it as real money. It's not real money. I just made a video. It's crazy to think about. I make a video that took maybe an hour. I wrote the script, took 6 minutes to record, another 20 minutes to edit, and then publish for like, it took me 5 minutes to upload to multiple platforms. And then, so about an hour's worth of work. And yeah, it generates over $1,000. That's crazy. This is not correct in the world, guys. This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But you know, to people who make all their living that way, it's just like, oh, you know, it's logic. It's like, no. The whole point of having all this attention is to be able to push that attention towards commerce in the world of atoms, in the world of stuff, in the real world, not just to like make some media and then the attention itself makes the money. I don't know. This world doesn't make any sense. And so just because I can do it doesn't necessarily mean I want to do it. And I don't know. Like with this whole barcode stuff, I think it's a useful service where you can allow people who can't price in traditional tracking information into their product because they're only selling it for like under $20. It doesn't make any sense that you'd spend 4 of that 20, that margin on shipping, on just adding tracking information. And especially if it can fit into a standard letter envelope, like, I don't know. So it's like, I was thinking about this today, maybe figuring out this barcode thing and integrating it with Shopify or whatever e-commerce platforms like Etsy or whatever for products that can fit into an envelope or flat mail. That could birth a new segment of the economy of things that cost less than $20 that can fit into that kind of form factor, which otherwise is not possible at that price point. Because like there's all this like there's fixed costs when it comes to e-commerce, and I'm realizing that. The biggest cost right now is attention. So I've been running Facebook ads. I haven't used the audience I've put together yet because I'm thinking I want it to make it sustainable. But I'm thinking in the longer term, like there's all these fixed costs that come with e-commerce, and if you can substitute that fixed cost of like tracking information, which actually costs more at smaller, because it has the same issue of economies of scale. The minimum you're paying for USPS ground shipping, which is the lowest you can pay, is about $4, unless you go through one of these aggregators or like through e-commerce platform. They can get it down to $3.50 because they negotiate that. But it's still a huge chunk of the margin you have in a product that you're selling for like less than $20, you know? And so it's like, but then if you can switch that, if you can fit it in an envelope and you can get it down to 68 cents, which is the cost of a forever stamp, a standard USPS stamp, but then add tracking information, which is actually free, by the way. You just have to build the system to be able to pull that information, because it goes through USPS machines that's automatically sorted. Then you can that you basically increase the margins of a product that costs less than $20 by about $3.50, which is crazy. That's a big chunk, especially considering like there's a lot of fixed costs that come in. Like it's a dramatic. If I showed you guys a spreadsheet of this, like saving $3.50 on your product, on the cost of your product, or you get to include free shipping, which you otherwise had to charge the customer for, makes the conversions easier. So on both ends, so for people who charge shipping for things like stickers or trading cards, think about products like that can fit into an envelope. It's a dramatic saving, and it means it's possible to sell something for $10. It is possible because you're not going to be spending $3.50 for tracking information, because it's literally accounted for through the. So that's what I'm working on right now. I ran the new ads hoping the ads would actually work better. They don't. I'm breaking even on those, but it's not as good as the ones I was running before. So I got to figure that out. It sucks. I thought it was going to work. And I think Facebook ads give a priority to people who leave comments on your posts, which is what happened on one of them, which is probably, if that's true and it's not actually a performing ad, then it's choosing the wrong thing as a success marker. So I think I have to think about that a little more. Also got a complaint from someone, a complaint about the status of their order, and I get it. Like the old packaging I was using used a cardstock that was folded, and then put the wallet in there. It's a nice holder, and it presents better, I think, but it makes the envelope non-machinable, which means then it can't go through USPS machines, which then means it has to go through human sorting, which takes far longer. It adds like a week to the whole process, which sucks, because then you get complaints about like, what's the status of my order? And I'm like, yeah, I had to explain to the guy, like, look, economy shipping doesn't have tracking information, which I'm trying to solve right now. And then on top of that, it's not going through the machines, so it's taking even longer. And he did leave a comment on one of the posts, and I just sent him an email. He deleted the comment, and so I think we're good. And then he just received it, and he loves it. So yeah, we're doing it, guys. We're doing it out here. So that's cool. That's cool. Which I have to share it with. I forgot to share it to my fiance, but I think it's pretty cool. You know, because I stumbled on this video about unreasonable hospitality. Basically, a restaurateur, or like the front guy of a restaurant was explaining how he took a different approach for hospitality, like going above and beyond for people. And the story he describes was he overheard some customers during the lunch service while he was cleaning up plates talk about how they had just visited New York. They came to they were visiting all these restaurants. There were a bunch of foodies, but they regretted, the one regret that they would have is not getting a $2 hot dog, a classic New York City hot dog. And so hearing that, he's like, you know what? What if we can give it to them? What if we can give them a $2 hot dog? So he literally goes in the back, runs out of the restaurant, goes to the nearest hot dog stand and gets a $2 hot dog, and then goes back to the restaurant and gives it to the chef, and he's like, please plate this. And he's like, no, what? Obviously, like, chefs would be like, what? Why are you asking me to plate a $2 hot dog? He's like, trust me. It'll have, trust me. I don't know. It's just a moment of inspiration. And sometimes that happens, and it happened to him. And so the chef reluctantly plates it, and then he presents it to them. We thank you for coming to our restaurant. We really love having you here, but we cannot let to New York have any regrets without actually tasting the classic New York City hot dog, and presents it to them. And boom, the impact that had on them. They like, that's a story. That's a story they will tell for the rest of their lives. A $2 hot dog. So it didn't cost the restaurant much. It didn't cost them anything at all. Like $2 is nothing. But the impact it had on those people, and so he ended up deciding to do this for every customer if possible. And so they actually created a new role in the restaurant, whose job it is specifically to find these moments where they can be unreasonably hospitable and find these, just like, how can we really just make them? And then the best part about it is, like, because it has such impact, these small little gestures, which don't necessarily have to be expensive. They don't. Like, a hot dog at a fine dining restaurant in New York City is like nothing, $2. But the impact it had, people tell each other about it. So that's if you want to see the self-interested reason for it, it's that you get people talking about you. So it's free advertising. Word of mouth is supreme above any form of advertising, and anyone who works in marketing would tell you that. And so this idea of unreasonable hospitality, and this is expounded some more on the show The Bear, episode 7, Forks. It's such a good episode. Just that one episode. You don't have to watch the entire series, although the series is good. The Bear, episode 7, Forks of season 2. Is worth watching, and basically it goes through this story. It basically dramatizes this whole restaurant who cares so much about the experience that their customers will have when they come to eat food. And so I was like, what if I could take the same approach for e-commerce? You know, like, make it so memorable that yeah, it's a simple $20 product, yeah, whatever. But I'm just like, but what if I can take it there without it costing too much, without ruining the margins of the product, but then have that sort of impact on people. And so, like, one of the things I do, which I've been doing since the beginning because I thought it was a funny idea, is actually including a $2 bill with every order. So you buy this wallet from the website, and then I don't even tell you about it. I mean, yeah, if you're watching here, you know about it, but the customers who are coming from Facebook running those ads, they don't know about it. They receive it, and then they see a $2 bill, and it's just like, yo. And I know what they're thinking. It's like, this can't be real. And then I wrote on the card that holds it, yes, it's real money, because it is real money. I have a stack of $2 bills, like right here, that I specifically for wallet orders, just for wallet orders, because I think it's a cool idea that it's the only wallet on the market that comes pre-installed with money. It's just a funny idea, but it's that small little gesture. And I've been taking it even further. I'm like, what else could I do? And so now I figured out how to actually, like, print on envelopes. I got a lighter colored envelope so I can actually print on it, which simplifies the whole process of actually putting the packaging together. Instead, I was using these labels, these Avery labels, to print out on those labels and then sticking on. This is just removes the whole step, so it's good for me. But then, since I'm printing directly on the envelopes now what if I can include pictures? What if I can include something that's important? So, like, with one guy, he's bought wallets from me before. So he's been super supportive. And I remember we were having a conversation and we talked about him spending time in China and everything. So I actually put a picture of the Great Wall of China on the envelope. I just sent an envelope to my, I guess, future father-in-law, and he literally called me today. And he's like, yo, I just received the wallet. And I was like, yeah, thank you so much. I'm like, yeah, no worries, bro. And the $2 bill, he actually mentioned that. I was like, yeah, that's the point. That's the point. I put a picture of Muhammad Ali on there on advice from my fiance. And then I sent one to my dad, actually. And I put a picture of the country that he's from, ethnically Eritrean. So I put a picture of Eritrea on the corner there. And then for my brother, I sent one to him, and I put a picture of Lewis Hamilton because he's a big racing fan. And I sent him a wallet inspired by Hamilton moving to Ferrari next year. And so just little tiny things that be like, even if it's just the packaging, which I know they're going to throw away, that small little gesture, I think can have impact. And I don't know. I think it's cool, one, but then also two, word of mouth. That's what I'm going for. But yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and then now adding the tracking information, and then now it'd be cool to even include like discount codes. And so I have these cards. I have these like credit card shaped. It's like this except made out of paper, and I can print on them. So I think next step is I'm going to put QR codes to discounts. I'm thinking a 25% discount on the next order. Which still makes the finances work, because if they buy again, then I don't have to worry about customer acquisition costs because they're already a customer and they bought again. So it's more margin. I actually make more money when they buy a second time, even with 25% off. It's crazy how the finances of e-commerce work, especially at the low price points. Or it's a card, and if they're talking to a friend or comment on it or show off the $2 bill that they have, and a friend asks, like, yo, where'd you get that? Oh, it's a really thin wallet. Like, what's the website or whatever? They can just give them the card. And yeah, they'll be buying it at a discount, but the margins make more sense versus trying to get a customer straight from like advertising. So I'm just thinking about these at a bigger, it's a whole thing. But yeah, that's the wallet update. Oh man, I could talk about it a lot. But e-commerce is a tough game. It's a tough game, especially at a low price point, which is why most people never even get into it. And I understand. The finances are really tough. And the only reason I got into this is because I can make the finances work and I make it myself. I'm still pricing in the cost of an employee. And right now it doesn't make sense. So I'm still trying to work this equation out. But as far as other topics I have prepared, so I talked about social media money. I talk about money, relationships, health, the three topics that have broad appeal. And essentially they have broad appeal because they appeal to human vices. And I posted a video about that. And so if you make any content, and it turns out even if you want to get into business, if you can serve people's vices, it's a lot easier to do. Business is a lot easier when you sell people sin. And so that's why like OF models, it's easy money, vanity stuff. So like, salons, teeth white. I know a lot of people like Alex Hormozy, great entrepreneur. And yeah, I listen to his podcast. I'm trying to figure out this whole business and e-commerce stuff too. But if you read his book, $100 Million Offers, he mentions it in the beginning, but then I don't think he focuses enough on it, but he mentions it where the same idea, if you're going to get into business, serve, money, relationships, or health. Those are the three. Either can you make someone more money? Can you help people get into relationships or get with people? Or health, get into the health space because that feeds vanity. And so it's one of those unfortunate things about the human spirit. Like, but whatever. I don't know. I'm still wrestling with that. And I don't think I have, even my content, like, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about on that. And then also another topic is Cheetos. Weirdly enough, I know, all over the place here, but this is an old video idea that I had posted on YouTube like 6 months ago, and I thought it would be cool to make a short explaining how you can make a new flavor of Cheetos using white cheddar Cheetos and some yellow curry. Mix those together. Bomb. But then even better when you actually mix the white cheddar curry Cheetos with some flaming hot Cheetos in a bowl. It looks great and it tastes awesome together. Trust me. I know. If you like Cheetos, I didn't even like Cheetos before. I don't normally eat Cheetos, but I only did it as a video idea to make a new flavor. I was going to use Berbera, which is what I did. It's a spice from East Africa, or a spice blend from East Africa, but that didn't turn out that well. But the yellow curry, bro. If you like Indian food, you're going to like white cheddar, yellow curry Cheetos. And then you mix it with Flamin' Hot, bro, it's so good. And then another video idea I have, which is sort of in that vein, trying and creating new things, is AI shoes, AI designed shoes. And so I actually bought the shoes. These are some Reeboks. Reeboks right here. Boom. White Reeboks. And the idea being I'm going to use AI to come up with a colorway and then paint it. And that's AI designed shoes. But then the message of the video, I want it to be that despite AI and all it's capable of, it still requires human intuition and judgment. And that's the message. Because people think like AI is going to like replace us, whatever. It's like, no. When it comes to creativity and taste, that's where people come in, because AI can't tell you that. AI can't tell you that. And that's where the human comes in. So AI is just a tool, guys. That's my position on it. But yeah, I'm out of jail, TikTok jail, so I'm gonna be adding those guys on right now. Normally I'd be playing music, but I can't because this is a new microphone. If you guys have any issues, please let me know with the sound. But yeah, thank you for being here. I know on a Tuesday, it's not typical, and I experiment. Here's the thing, I am not regular with this stuff, and I'm breaking all the rules when it comes to social media stuff. Because like you're supposed to be at a certain time and you're supposed to publish at a certain time every day and be consistent because your audience is like, I don't care to do this if I have to follow a schedule. That's the thing. And I don't think you would either. Everyone hates calendars and appointments and meetings and stuff like that. It's like, why would I make this work? Which I actually enjoy doing, hanging out with you guys, talking about whatever we want. Why would I make that something as boring as a meeting, you know? And so that's how I'm justifying not being consistent. But yeah, let me add the guys on TikTok. I'm out of jail, guys. I'm out of jail. Let's see, live. Yes, I'm back. Cool. This is very cool. I have a microphone there, separate microphone right now. I got to figure out this OBS stuff eventually. I'm using StreamYard right now. And for a SaaS, it works really well. It works so well. But yeah. So let's see. 2 people watching on YouTube, 1 person on Twitch. All right, nice to have you guys here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ayman. I'm the host and captain of the Table Moments podcast. I say captain. I know it sounds funny every time I say it, but I say captain because it comes with a sense of responsibility. You know, everyone wants to call themselves CEO and, you know, all the other stupid terms people use. Host is fine, but it's boring. But I like captain because it comes with responsibility. Like a captain goes down with the ship. And I feel a sense of responsibility to the content I make and what I produce and all this stuff. So thank you for being here. And let's add the TikTok people. And if you have any comments, put it in the chat. I'll be able to see it, even on StreamYard. And let's say hi to these TikTok people. I know. TikTok about to be banned, but whatever. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with every platform. So I'm not loyal to anybody. I treat these platforms like side pieces, you know? When one isn't acting right, you go to the other one. I literally do it. That's how I handle it. So like when TikTok shadow bans me and it's not giving me views that I know, I'm like, all right, let me hang out on Instagram for a bit. She's been nice to me. And then when she's acting up or it's not working out, it's like, oh, TikTok? Oh, no. That YouTube honey over there, yeah, she's a BBW. But it's like, whatever. Yeah, you got to go long form. It's a lot more effort, you know, because she's a heavy girl. That's how I feel. Right now, I don't mess around with the crackhead that Twitter is, but maybe I have to one day. Maybe I could make a whole script related to that, like describing, personifying each social platform as a type of girl. I think that'd be funny, but whatever. I come up with all these crazy ideas, and it takes me a while to. I write the scripts, and then when I feel motivated enough to record something, I record. But all right, let's add to the TikTok people. You guys got an extra 30 minutes out of me. Normally I keep it at 20, but when I'm on a flow, I gotta go. Be nice. You're worldly slipping. Yeah, I know. I'm hungry. That's no excuse. That's no excuse. I know. Always keeping me in check, Jordy. Got it. I talked to Joe today, by the way. Short conversation, but yeah. Hey everyone. Hey TikTok. What's good? What's good? What's good? How's everyone doing today? Got a few topics prepared. Be nice. That's the hardest part about this whole spiritual journey, cause like I still got that spiciness in me, you know. I don't know, like literally, I just finished the episode, new episode, podcast episode coming Thursday, maybe Friday, depending on the guest reviewing it, but it's a good one. I might make a few more edits to it before I publish, but it's a good one, and we talk about it. Like, you know, it's so easy to clap back to people on social media, and I have the wit for it, but at the same time, it's not godly, and I'm on that path, and I don't really have a choice in the matter. You know, when God calls you, there's really nothing you could do. You just gotta like swallow your pride and whatever. I think you'd call him Poppy. What? No, what's wrong with his name? I'm just gonna call him his name. Hey everyone. Hey TikTok. How's it going? I know. I'm back. I'm back, baby. Like Backstreet. I was banned. I was suspended last week, but I'm back. What did they suspend me for? Misinformation, they say. And I replayed that part of the stream because I also stream on TikTok and Twitch, or Twitch and YouTube, and I didn't say anything. So I appealed it. I expected a review, as they said in the warning, within 24 hours, but you know, they fired everybody, so they don't have anyone to review it. That's crazy, you know? So tech companies really struggling out here. And it's always the people at the bottom who get cut first, which sucks, because it's like they're not the ones responsible for the direction of the company, you know? But they pay the price. That's wild, bro. That's wild, but whatever. You hesitate every time you say it, like it sounds weird because it does. I don't know. I'm not sure what to call it. I feel like I should use a like more respectful title for my for him. I don't know. It's just weird. Maybe I could call him Unc. Hey everyone. I think your bald head with beard is cute. Thanks, Stephen Hawking. Okay. I only keep yeah. I appreciate it. I guess. Jamila CT, Connecticut. Nice to see you here. But yeah, I have a few topics prepared, but feel free to ask me questions. Social media money, money relationships, health, Cheetos, AI shoes. Those are the topics I have. I make stir chicken. What do you mean stir chicken? Oh, another follower of Jesus here. Nice. Ask people what people call their father-in-laws. Oh yeah, ask people. Oh yeah, what do you guys call your father-in-laws? Like, I don't. Do you call them pops? Do you call them? I don't know. I think it's weird to call your father-in-law a dad. That's weird. I don't. Is that weird? I don't know. I don't know. I just call him by his name. Where are you from, bro? I'm originally from California. I live in Texas now, though. But I don't know where I'll live. Like within maybe Chicago soon. Who knows? I'm really living life day by day, and I think it's pretty cool. Should I spend 4K on a Gucci socks or Birkin bag? I don't know. I don't think 4K on a Gucci socks, are they like threaded with gold or something? Or like adamantium? I'm trying to understand. Like no one's going to see your socks So that's the problem. The whole point of spending money on Velbin goods, as that's what it is, it's a status good. It's called a Velbin good. The whole point is to flex it because it's not the actual material value, the 4K. I know you're probably joking, but just as an education point, like you don't buy luxury goods to not show it off. And it's not that much superior than like maybe performance socks or something that are actually designed to feel comfortable and moisture wicking and all that. So Birkin bag so you can flex on people is what I would say. Because that's the point of luxury goods. How is the back of the bus? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I wrote in the front. Gave you some likes. I appreciate it, Austin Rivas. Back again with the vids. Cool. Nice to hear that. But yeah, Birkin bag for sure. I don't know, like, I don't even know what a Birkin logo looks like. I don't understand luxury goods at all. And I don't think I could ever get into that game. Although, I don't even know if I would be good at it because you kind of have to have that mindset. Like, I recently stumbled on Culture Kings. Yeah, it's like an Australian company that sells stuff like shoes and merch and whatever. But basically, I guess it's influential, or at least they use a lot of clout to sell their products or at least build up their brand. Or maybe they have a relationship with rappers or something. But like the idea that I would sell based on status, which, by the way, is the better way to do business, at least monetarily speaking. Like the margins are so much higher. If you look at like some of the most valuable companies in the world, you'll find a lot of them are like luxury goods because the brand itself can command a larger amount of money, can command a higher price, much higher price than their performance-based competitor, like or a premium-based competitor. And so it's this tough thing with like commerce, man. Like if you want to be able to eat well and do well in business, is luxury brands seem to be a really, if you can build a luxury brand, and usually the typical way of doing that is through clout, either getting the clout yourself, which is so hard, or you get clout from other people, which is what Culture Kings did. I think it was, they popped off with a Drake collab. So yeah, that's why clout chasing makes so much sense to people. Not to people. I mean, I see why people clout chase. I didn't understand it until I started doing social media. I'm like, oh, because it's so much easier to grow when other people put you on. It's so much easier. I've grown this thing from the ground up, literally just posting I don't post every day now, but I used to. And man, it's a grind. No views, no watchers. It sucks. It sucks. But I don't know. I think it's better for the long term and it's good for character growth. That's how I feel about it. Don't make me report the live. You don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Make you. I'm going to make you report it. Dude, I've been shadow banned so many times and it's like I'm also streaming on YouTube and Twitch. So it sucks when it happens, but whatever. I'm not too worried about TikTok as a platform. Like, I know a lot of people are talking about like, oh, it's going to get banned. If it gets banned, who cares? Like the way they've treated creators, they rug pulled everybody, including you, all the people who make the dances and the trend stuff. They rug pulled us all. They always do. And that was the point I was making in my video about social media money. Like they'll pay you in the near term to get you on their platform and get you hooked. They're trying to turn us into addicts, guys. That's what they're trying to do. And I refuse to be a part of it. And so it's just like, what if we can solve this problem for creators and even yourselves? You can actually like figure out a way to make this sustainable. Because I mean, this content stuff is a tough game to be in. Who's leaving? I don't know, some comments in the live were filtered to protect the community's experience. See, this is the reason why TikTok, I don't mind TikTok being banned. This stupid crap right here. Like, who gives them the right to interfere in the communication between us? Who gives them the right? Like, just because it's their it's like, no, your community property, you belong to the streets. That's how I treat these platforms. And it would be awesome if other people treated them the same way too. which is why I would say it's good to be active on multiple platforms. Who do you think is the greatest NBA player? I mean, the easy answer is Jordan. Um, Probably the correct answer is Kobe. It's never LeBron. I don't know. I don't watch the basketball that much, but I'm sure you have your opinions, though. What's your opinion? What's your opinion? Please give me a weird name like Wilt Chamberlain or I don't know. I don't. I've never watched any of the clips. I've always seen clips of like old NBA or like when the ABA and NBA existed or whatever. Like it's not a high caliber of playing guys. So I don't think you could say like Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, even though they were the best of their time. Like it's a whole new level of athleticism now because of the super training that they all end up doing and all the steroids that they're probably on too. Sorry, bro. Sorry, but that's how it is. But yeah, whatever. Should I become a doctor, lawyer, or engineer? I can't pick what I want to be. Um, that's. Are you East African? Are you? You sound like you are the child of an immigrant. If those are your only choices, you sound like the child of an immigrant. Every immigrant knows this. Just like, what are you gonna be? Doctor, lawyer, engineer. I took the third option. I took the third option. I became an engineer, but not because I those were my only choices. It's one of those things that I was blessed enough to know exactly what I wanted to do when I was a kid, or at least the closest thing to what I wanted to do, and it aligned perfectly with engineering. So my parents didn't have to uh, compel me to one of those three. However, like it's a personal preference. Like, what can you imagine yourself doing? Like, if you're the type of person when you were a kid, you took things apart to figure out how they worked, or you fixed things, or you built things, and you have an obsession, or you also seem to do well in math and science, and those are the things that really like fill you spiritually, engineer is your choice. Like, if it's not, if math, physics, that kind of stuff bores you, and you always hated those subjects, and you're not the type of person who like researches how things work just for the sake of it, or builds things because you just love to in your own time. If you don't own a 3D printer or never even considered it, engineer is not your choice. Sorry. And it's not for everybody, and I get it. It's weird because I actually posted a video a long time ago where I'm like, you're not, engineers are born, they're not made. Essentially explaining this fact, like that having that engineer personality is a different thing. You played with Legos growing up and really enjoyed it. And building things, taking things apart. Oh, your favorite show is probably How It's Made. Every engineer I've ever worked with, they all do things like this in their free time. I remember I had a coworker who, for fun, decided to calculate the moment of inertia of a Hershey's Kiss, and then did a whole statistical analysis to figure out where the percentage of times it would land on the flat face if you threw it. He did that for fun. And I'm just like, yep, that's an engineer. That's an engineer. And I get it, because like I build stuff all the time. I like always look into things, how they work, and I like working with my hands. You don't necessarily have to work with your hands. There are disciplines of engineering. So like if you're a computer person, obviously computer science would make sense. If you like electric, or if you like civil buildings and stuff, architecture really fascinates you. Maybe civil engineering makes more sense. Material science is also a weird one too, which is also falls into the engineering camp. As far as doctor, lawyer, I can't really give any advice, but I do like the idea that Dinico, I don't know how to say your name, but do all three. Yeah. I mean, one day it'd be cool to just go to medical school. Not necessarily because I want to become a doctor, medical doctor, but I think it'd be cool to understand the human body, because it's just a machine. That's the way I see it. Law, I don't know, I have strong opinions about law, you know. Like, on the one hand, it's useful to know. On the other hand, it's so complicated and needlessly complicated, and I don't like that. What is the best tool? Anything better than a wedge, rope, or hammer? The best tool, that's an interesting question. The best tool is, I don't know, I don't like the idea of like purpose built single purpose tools, like all the things you just mentioned, wedge, rope, hammer, you can use those in so many different ways. A wedge can be used to hold or fix, align, measure, in so many different things. A rope, same thing, depending on how you use it. A hammer, also same thing. You can use it in so many different ways. So I like these multi-purpose tools, or these tools that have general purpose tools that can be used in so many different applications. I think I come from the Alton Brown school of thought, where nothing specific with one purpose belongs on the counter, kitchen counter. So this is Alton Brown, Good Eats. He has this rule. I don't know how well he followed it, but I like that idea for like my workbench or like my tool set. I don't like anything that's made to do one specific thing. Although sometimes that specific tool is incredibly useful if you have to do a lot of that one thing. And that's the only way you can justify it. But if you're a tinkerer, you need to be able to adapt things in new and interesting ways. So I'm about those general tools specifically. So as far as the best tool, it's, I don't know. Can't go wrong with a knife. You can use it to hammer. You can use it to cut. You can use it to wedge. Like you can use it. A knife is pretty cool. I was thinking about being an engineer, but I heard the job market for new grads is tough. It was tough for me, like over a decade ago. If you're mechanical, yo, it's hard to find a unless you're willing to move. You have to be willing to move, and that's the tough thing that you don't think as an engineer that you would have to do. You're like, oh, people need engineers. It's like, no, our society, I don't know what it is. Obviously the transition away from manufacturing to service has meant that a lot of manufacturing doesn't happen in this country anymore, which means what do engineers do? And so it turns out like most of the engineering economy is in software, which is why the CS majors, they don't have a problem finding a job, but maybe even now they're having a hard time because of the downturn. But like mechanical engineering, I had to move across the country. Moved from California to New York to get a job as an engineer out of college, a mechanical engineer, to actually get that role. So I agree with your line of thinking. Knives are a good choice too. Yeah. I know in the UK they have this thing called zombie knives. It's worth, if you're anything about 2A and like American issues and stuff, go watch or YouTube some stuff about zombie knives in the UK, and then like they're trying to pass legislation. They use the same language that we use in the US regarding firearms and stuff, and it's hilarious. They're like, these are so dangerous. No one should have these. It's just like, are you serious? A knife? Yo, the world is weird, man. But yeah, Jay, I hope this was helpful. But here's the thing. On the one hand, I understand making decisions based on the job market, because like, what's the point of spending tens of thousands of dollars at school if you can't recoup the cost? On the other hand, it's your life and it's what you care to learn. So should that be decided based on employment opportunity? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I get it. But on the other hand, like maybe the happy balance is, yes, there are employment opportunities, but it's also something you care to learn. Because like if you choose engineering and you're not meant for it, and this stuff you don't enjoy, you don't like doing, it's going to be a miserable 4 to 5 years for you. Like you're not gonna, like for me, I actually enjoyed college. Yeah, I had to study. I pulled a lot of all-nighters because I just sucked with time management. And that's just how I go. That's how I move. I just do things last minute. I procrastinate like a mother. And, but I did well. I did well because it's something I naturally enjoy. I actually like learning the physics. I like learning the math. I like building and tinkering. I like the trial and error. I like using math and physics to help decision making in the real world, but then also experimenting and testing, and then reassessing the calculations to see what I got right and wrong. I enjoy that part. Right now, like I make these, like, I don't have it on me, but I make these wallets, and I've been figuring out the manufacturing process for it. I have these nylon that's laser cut. I fuse it together using an impulse sealer, and I have these like front pocket wallets, these very minimalist wallets. They're on my TikTok shop, but I enjoy the process of actually making, or at least figuring out the problem solving on how to make these a reality. That stuff is interesting for me, and it just made sense that I became an engineer. In fact, what I really wanted to be, I actually came to this realization maybe like a year or two ago, where as a kid, I told people I wanted to be an engineer. Okay. And if you come from an immigrant family who doesn't, they know an engineer is a title of status in immigrant communities, at least East African immigrant communities. But if they didn't know an engineer personally or have someone in their family growing up, they don't even know what an engineer does. So like my parents they don't know what an engineer does, but they just know their son is an engineer. But really I chose engineering because it was the one thing that aligned with what I felt I was meant to do, or at least the thing that I imagined myself doing, which is inventing things. And yeah, so really what I wanted to be was an inventor. But that's a hard thing to communicate to people who don't even know what an engineer is, let alone an inventor. But essentially that's what I've become now. So it's pretty cool. Not patents or anything like that, just building stuff on my own, whatever. It'd be cool. I don't know. I feel some type of way about patent law. Again, so this is the lawyer thing, the bias I have against the law. But I mean, if you enjoy arguing, if you enjoy legal briefs, if you enjoy the complicated nature of the legal system, then and you enjoy the status and the hours that come with it, or maybe you get into criminal law and you enjoy defending, if you enjoy justice and bringing, or at least playing a part in justice, then a lawyer could make sense for you. But also understand, like, that's a tough road too, because it's heavy sacrifices from what I understand. As far as doctors, yeah, being a doctor means you're going to be spending a huge chunk of your early adulthood in medical school. Are you okay with that? Are you fascinated by the human body? Or is it just money? If money is motivating you, then I don't know. As you get older, you realize like money becomes less and less a part of your decision making as you get enough of it in your life. And you realize there are more important things in life. But yeah, I get it. When you're young and you're going to school, it seems like the only thing that matters. So yeah, I can't give you any advice other than like the path I took was engineering. Hope that's useful. But if it's not, definitely explore. In college, you can take a bunch of classes. Like if you're just starting college, you can sign up for a physics course that's probably going to fulfill some science requirement. You can sign up for, I don't know, some intro to law or something. I don't know what their coursework looks like. And then as far as the medicine stuff, yeah, maybe you can audit a anatomies course and see if you enjoy it and see what you like. And the advice I would give is just explore. You don't know what you're going to like. If you don't know what you like, exploring will help you figure out what you like. And it turns out you will become successful at things you like because you will like them. You'll be able to put the time and effort it takes to actually be good at it, if you will. And yeah, hopefully that's useful. But yeah, any other questions, guys? I'm not trying to give advice here, but yeah, it's a good question though. And I think a lot of people struggle with this stuff. Which, man, I don't know. I got really lucky for knowing exactly what I wanted to do when I was young. I wish maybe that's what high school could be, because like I've railed on the educational system on here, on videos, whatever, but perhaps that's what high school should be, a place to explore all these different things and finding what you end up wanting to do. Or maybe you don't necessarily find the answers, but at least you narrow it down. Because like in high school, you're just given all these like choices. It's like, hey, you're in college now, pick something. It's like, what? How do you, what? They don't even, like most people don't know what an engineer does. It turns out working as an engineer is not even close to as interesting as studying to become an engineer, which is why I left engineering. So maybe this is useful information for you, Jay. But yeah, like working as an engineer is boring as hell unless you're working in some R&D department. But even then, that comes with boring meetings. That comes with a boss telling you what you can and can't design. Would you still be an engineer if your job said the salary would be relatively low? Yeah. It wasn't about the money. Like for me, it wasn't about the money. If it was about the money, I would have gone into computer science. I chose mechanical because that's the one that made sense for me. You sound really grounded and logical. Good advice. Oh, thanks, man. But yeah, Rusty Nugget JJ, what up, my guy? Hey, Rusty JJ, what's up? What's your bald head routine? Not much to it. All right, I'll tell you. I shave my head. I use one of the Amazon Basic disposable razor heads. Fill up the sink with relatively warm water to hot. Wet my head, put some shaving cream on, and then just go with the grain. Takes like 3 minutes. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, so money wasn't my motivation for becoming an engineer. It's just one of those things I'm called to, which I know a lot of people do not have the luxury of knowing exactly what they want to do. And this is where the journey of self-discovery comes in, or maybe spiritual discovery. Maybe you might be called to do something. That's also a possibility. But this isn't useful. I know it's not. So I'm sorry. Like I can't tell you what to do. And here's the thing. I understand the craving, the desire for someone to tell you, hey, here's the certain path. If you do this, it will work. Turns out life isn't like that. And it turns out everyone out there ahead of you who've made it or has taken paths, became where they are, what they are, or where they are, doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Everyone's just figuring it out as we go along. And this is, I think, comes with maturity, accepting this, and sucks when you're a kid because it's just like, you know, this path of just like, all right, you go to school, you do well, then you go to college, then you do well, but you will have to make decisions along the way about what to study and you have to do well. And then you go into the career, then you start doing it and you realize, what is this? What is this? Like, this is going to be I remember having this conversation with my parents when I started working. I'm like, what is this? This is the life, working. That's all this is. And it was really depressing. I stuck there for a while, and then I had conversations. So originally I was working for a government laboratory as a contractor. Contractor sounds bad. I was basically a full-time engineer, salaried, whatever, but they classified us as contractors who worked on behalf of this government laboratory. But it was a comfy situation. Essentially, we got the perks of being a private sector employee, but then also the benefits of being a government employee. So it worked really well. The vacations were great. All that, salary was comfortable. If I wanted to just chill all day, wouldn't have gotten fired. And people, they're used to having lifers there too, people who get in and then stay there their entire career. I could have done that too, but that sounded depressing as hell to me. And I remember having a conversation with like some of the guys at work who I played basketball with. One of the guys who had been there for like 10 years, I told him at around 4.5 years, I actually got a job at a different place. And but I hadn't left the lab yet. It was like this period between when I would start versus when I would leave that job. And he was like, yeah, man, dude. After he noticed this pattern, like anyone who stays there more than 5 years stays there for the rest of their life. And I'm just like, yo, that's the trap, guys. That's the trap. I was just like, man, thank the Lord. I got out. And that's how they get you, man. It's those golden handcuffs. It's the money. The money is the trap. I get it. You need money. People need money to live because that's how our economy works. And yes, the exchange of goods and services. Got it. But like to make it your primary focus, that's how you make big life decisions off of paper. I don't know, man. I posted a video like last week where I talk about $2 bills. And how paper, actual currency, has no value until they put the ink on it. The video went crazy well. Like I think it might have crossed 5 million views right now on TikTok. Maybe. But definitely over 4 million. And which is funny. It's one of these videos that does well across platforms. So it's at 700,000 on Instagram, and it's at 48,000 on YouTube. It's a short, whatever, but it's interesting. Like people make major life decisions for their lives based on this piece of paper. And then if you really think about it, what it is. It's a piece of paper. Like that's how I don't know, Jay. just to put it into perspective for you, that's what you're considering right now. Making a major life decision, your purpose, what you choose to do in life based on paper. So I get it. You got to eat, but man, I don't know. I haven't quite reconciled it all yet, but man, it's just sad. It's just sad. And it turns out when you find the thing that's meant for you, I don't know if I can't give any guarantees here, okay? But every person who's made it talks about how like their path was uncertain, those highs, there were a lot of lows, but eventually when they came out on the other side by not giving up and not failing or not going broke in the process, they were able to make it. And it turns out it's a lot easier to make it and be driven into doing something or working in a certain direction when it's something you actually enjoy. If you're miserable, you're never going to be as good or competent as someone who actually enjoys the work. So, like, I struggle with this too. Like, I have all these ideas. I like working in the world of atoms, building things, creating things. But there's definitely opportunities in the software world too. I taught myself how to code, but I'm not good at it, and I don't practice it every day like I should if I wanted to be good at it, because I actually don't enjoy it. But I understand it needs to be done, so I do it. Sometimes when I feel motivated, I haven't been motivated in like months to actually even write a line of code, experiment here and there. But like to actually build, right now I'm working on an idea, which I need for my e-commerce stuff to integrate with Shopify. So, but I mean, I like the math, I like the white paper on how to generate this thing that I need to create, but the actual coding part is not something I actually enjoy. But I do it because it needs to be done. Quarters, dimes, and whatnot used to be actually made of silver. Now they're just made of hopes and dreams, basically. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's backed by nothing, guys. Our dollars are backed by nothing. You know what's even crazier? The U.S. Mint loses money on every penny that they make because the metal content, which is mostly nickel, a majority of it is nickel, is actually worth more than a penny. The actual content, the metal content of a penny is worth more than a penny. So they lose money on every penny they make, which is why it is illegal to melt it down, because that's the easy way to get more value than a penny is to just melt it and sell it as the metal content. On a Tuesday, what happened to Sundays? I chose Sundays to be a day of rest, Sabbath. You know, I've been getting all religious and stuff. So I didn't think it was appropriate to make Sundays. I normally do them on Mondays, but I got banned on Monday last week, or at least suspended from TikTok Live. And so I had a 7-day ban to basically midnight of Monday. And so today, Tuesday. I don't know. I'm experimenting with a different day, but the claim was misinformation. I don't know what it was. I appealed it, but no one reviewed it. So basically the ban went into effect. 7 days of not being able to stream to anybody, at least on TikTok. So I don't know. Like I'm trying to see which days make sense for me. Sundays were cool, but day of rest, and then also I don't like the idea that, you know, keeping everyone up just before the work week is just, I don't think it's a good thing for you guys either. So I'm thinking maybe Tuesdays make more sense. I don't know. I'm just experimenting, but it's nice to see you here, Curry, again. How do you keep yourself motivated and disciplined to do something? I procrastinate way too much. It's interesting. Like, I still struggle with this, but I actually started reading a book on creativity. This is by John Cleese, and a short and cheerful guide. It's literally like 100 pages, super short. But essentially, I don't know, they give an explanation for procrastination. And if you think about it in the creative realm, the reason why creatives actually tend to procrastinate a lot is because they're waiting for inspiration. They're waiting for inspiration. And so perhaps that's what's happening. I don't know if that applies to you or your work, but I deal with this all the time. Like, I'm thinking, I used to be able to post content every day, but at this point I've gotten good at it enough that I know that the right idea, the right concept for a video can make all the difference. And I know how to produce it if I get that right idea. And so that's what I've been waiting on. And so it's not procrastination at this point. It's more like I'm waiting for inspiration. Some people call it the universe, some people call it the divine, but anyone who works in the creative realm, making content or art, or even just trying to solve things in new and interesting ways, that's what you're waiting for, creativity. And so it's not necessarily procrastination sometimes. It's more like just waiting for the universe to intervene. And so that's what happens. Like I'll write sometimes I'll get hit with like an idea. And then I'm like, yo, let me write this down. Cause like when you have it, use it. Okay. When it comes at you, go get it. Like Pharrell actually talked about this on one of his clips where he's like, yo, you have this connection with the universe. Do not squander it. Okay. Some people have a constant connection, or they're in a zone for a period of time, but sometimes it just hits you out of nowhere. And when you do have it, like go capitalize on it. Like there's no guarantees you will continue to have it. So that's why that's what I do for these scripts. And yeah, the $2, you know, it was funny, that video that I made about the $2 bills and how money is basically just, the value of it, and basically commenting on that video that has like over 4 million views. I've had that roll of uncut currency for 2 months, just sitting here next to me. And it wasn't until that moment that I was inspired to actually finish the script and record the content and then publish. And that's just what happens, man. It's like, is that procrastination, or am I waiting for them? I still haven't figured it out. So I'm sorry I couldn't give you any answers. Is it discipline? I don't know. Another thing is like, I don't know, like especially like this procrastination. I bet Jay, you're dealing with the procrastination of choosing what major or which direction you want your life to come in. I think what's actually happening is you're looking for data, or at least basically inspiration, or its equivalent, in helping you decide. And so even just you asking the question, this is a possible source. And so you're just searching. And so is that necessarily procrastination, or you're looking for inspiration? I think that's what's happening. No, I'm on spring break. Okay. Quote of the day, Unc. Okay, you guys are calling me Unc. That's funny. Hey, Dom. Nah, what state? Yeah. Spring break. I didn't realize it was spring break until I went for a long walk today. I was like, I live right next to a community college. I was like, why is it empty on a Tuesday? I'm like, I'm pretty sure school happens on a Tuesday. And then I was having a conversation with my girl. I was like, is it spring break? She's like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. So you're off too, Curried, huh? As a teacher, you don't have, or do teachers have to go in part-time for, I don't know, what do you guys do? Just hang out at the teacher's lounge or whatever? Because I would figure you guys get spring break too. So I don't get spring break until Easter, but that's because of Mardi Gras break. Oh, okay. So it's different I guess spring break would be different for different school districts in different states. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. I wonder what the historical reason for spring break is. Like we get 10 days off in February? For what? What? I guess, is that, I don't know, I'm a little confused by that. How's that make sense? What is it about February that, maybe you work in a certain school district where they do things a little differently. But spring break is to keep teachers from quitting. I can see that. Oh, man. Yeah. I bet, it'd be fun to have you on the podcast. Talk about all the things from a teacher's perspective. I could keep you anonymous too if you'd like. Although I am doing like a video podcast now. New episode coming out later this week. No, really, LOL. That's the purpose of fall break too. Really? Like that's the stated reason for that stuff. All right, yeah, for sure. DM me after this if you can, or even right now. It would be cool to talk about teaching, because you know my opinions about the public school system and stuff. But I think it'd be interesting hearing your perspective on the inside, and you seem like a wholesome person who's actually trying to edify the future generation. So I think it'd be interesting to talk about all the things that, and yeah, that'd be fun. And then you could use it for content too if you'd like, or whatever. But yeah. Well, what do you have in your mind, guys? Like, I have some topics prepared, but as you guys know, if you're new here, we basically talk about anything and everything. We try to stay away from politics, but that's not going to stop you guys from throwing up the Palestinian and Israeli flags on here. Which, I mean, I think a lot of people. You know what? I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to stop it there. I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, and don't ask me to choose a side either. I'm not choosing sides. It's like saying, no, no, I'm not. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. But yeah, I have some ideas, video ideas too, that I'm planning. And this is also, I guess, a good example of procrastination because I have a video idea of like using AI to design a new colorway for a shoe. I got the shoe, but it's a basic Reebok high top or mid top, which is cool, but it's white, it's plain, and it's affordable. So I like the idea that I can experiment on something like this, and then other people can also get in on it too. And I want to show how to use AI, or possibly. But really, the larger point of that video would be to explain how, despite AI and its capabilities, art and creativity still require human judgment. And so explaining in the video that despite using all these tools, I still had to make a lot of creative decision making. And so that's how I'm going to design these. And these are size 13 Reeboks. Cool. Well, I just broke the fast a few minutes ago. Oh, okay. Are you fasting for Ramadan? Is that what's happening? I remember you mentioning that you grew up Muslim or you had family members who were Muslim, but I guess you're Muslim too, right? Is that it? I don't know why I didn't think it makes sense that you would be Muslim too. Yeah. If your entire family is, you would be too, I guess. But correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Ramadan Mubarak, I guess. Shout out to all the Muslims fasting. Father was Muslim, mother was Christian, but they didn't make us convert to either one. Okay, so then what are you? You're fasting, so, but that doesn't, it could be like a cultural, traditional, or maybe because you're so used to it. I don't know. That is interesting. It's definitely a complicated household. Spiritual, got it. But you will fast for Ramadan though, right? So I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Because this is a funny thing. I'm fasting too, but it's a food fast. And that's just the 40 days stuff. So you celebrate everything. That's a lot to take on. But good for you. Good for you. That's pretty cool that you can put both of them together. Interesting. But yes, I'm fasting from Ramadan. Okay, yeah. The water stuff is always the hardest part. I remember fasting Ramadan. That was the hardest part, especially when you live in a place that's really warm, where Ramadan falls in like the summer months. Like July is a terrible month to be fasting because it's like the longest days and it's the hottest days. So I remember I lived in a place where it was really, really hot in the summers. And those are not fun. And so what people would do you sleep most of the day like the Saudis do? Not gonna lie, that's a great way to fast. But yes, fasting for Ramadan, especially here in NOLA, yeah. It's probably like really humid there, isn't it? Man, yeah. So I just been doing a food fast. That's it. I've been drinking plenty of fluids though. But yeah, Ramadan. Yeah, I haven't fasted for Ramadan in a long time. Extremely humid, for sure. For sure. So, do you also pray too? Or, so how does that work? I am very curious. Maybe this is something we could talk about on the podcast too. But like, oh, that's your first time since college? Okay. Yeah, getting back into it. Yeah. Good luck and hopefully God's with you on this spiritual. That is an interesting household though, Muslim and Christian. Although Muslims like to think that they're the same God, and maybe a lot of people think that's true. I don't know. Been reading the Bible a lot. I don't find that to be true at all. They're not. They're not the same. Um, I pray my way. LOL. Fair enough. Fair enough. That was one of the things I didn't understand as a kid. Like it had to be in Arabic, but yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that. But yeah, good for you. Like I think fasting is there are some biological benefits to it. I've noticed, like especially as I get older, like a carb heavy meal makes me so sleepy, and it doesn't even have to be much, which I don't like. I don't like because then you just crash so hard. But at the same time, they're so delicious. So what do you do? But then a fast, like especially even like when you go for a walk on a fast, it's like you feel different. I went for a long walk today, 6 miles, I think. Um, and I don't know. I feel like lighter. It's hard to describe. Like I feel pure, especially after a shower. But I do recommend fasting, or at least intermittent fasting, just to see if it's something that works. I've noticed it does have some physical benefits, but then at the same time, um, there is a sort of spiritual thing by keeping your by not feeding your body. And so like this whole idea of like the spirit versus the body and all that, you really get to define that a little better through this experience. So it's been it's been good for me. The last few weeks I've been doing the food fast stuff. And apparently you can break it on Sundays, but I've been sometimes not. It takes away gluttony for sure, for sure. Hey Unc, hey Asher, what's up? What's up, bro? Kanye's version. Yeah, it's interesting. Sin. I made that. I posted a video this week about making content related to money, relationships, and health, and the reason why it's the easiest pieces of content outside of funny, cute, and food. So if you go on your social media feed and you see the stuff like it's mostly those things: money, relationships, health. If it's outside of cute, food, and funny, and the reason why is because they feed sins, they feed vices. You've been partaking in Lent. I don't know if it's called Lent or not. I'm still, I'm new. What is Lent? What are the rules for Lent? On Ash Wednesday, Good Friday, and all Fridays of Lent, everyone aged 14 and up must abstain from consuming meat. No. It's not Lent. Messy the goat. Yeah, I remember, dude. No, not Lent. Lent is Catholic, right? Is Lent Cath? Yeah. No, this is just like a 40-day fast. Similar to Jesus's journey through the forest, essentially. Yep, that's the whole purpose of Mardi Gras. Hello, yeah, basically, just sinful stuff. That's the whole purpose of Sin City, like Las Vegas. It feeds vices. And so it turns out when you feed human vices, it's a lot easier to be successful, not only in the content, but also in business too. Businesses that feed vices are a lot easier to operate if you successfully do it. Because it's something people naturally have an inclination toward, not even an inclination, a craving towards. It's feeding the body. And then choosing to take people in a different direction is the harder path. It absolutely is. But, most people, it's just like, why even bother? Why bother taking people in a better, higher, or elevated way? Because it's like, it's so much harder. That's why you see stuff like, that's why you see money, relationships, health. As far as content, you'll see that's outside of cute, funnier, and food. Sports is also one of the, outside of that, sports is just entertainment. But yeah, the obsession with like greed, which is the money stuff, and pride, which is the health stuff actually, or vanity actually is one of those. I'm not Catholic anymore though. Oh, okay. Have you been seeing Ryan Garcia stuff? Is that the boxer? I don't keep up with boxing. I always confuse Ryan Garcia with that entrepreneur guy who has the colored hair, who's also named Ryan. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Ryan Garcia. Honestly, I don't know if I could give any comments. I know what's his name? Mike Tyson is fighting Jake, I think, or is it? I forget which brother, Paul brother he's fighting, but streamed on Netflix, huh? Netflix is doing streaming now. Pay per view. Well, I guess it's kind of like pay per view, except you can have a subscription. Now you have to see what's happening. He's exposing the elites. Okay. I mean, where are you from? Originally from California. I live in Texas now. Well, what's happening? Yeah, that's a good. I don't know, like, even exposing the elite stuff, it's just like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see his stuff, I guess. Maybe it's worth looking into. But at the same time, I'm on this side of the camera and I can see how empty a lot of the content creators out here are because they're just chasing views in any way they can. But I don't know. I don't know this guy. You fasting for Ramadan? I don't. I'm not a practicing Muslim. I'm fasting for a different reason. Are you? I would guess if he's asking that he is, but I don't know. Here's the thing. The cool thing about the Bible and explaining like fasting is like you don't talk about it. You don't feign or pretend or show that you're in suffering or anything like that. You're supposed to literally, it actually calls for this. Like when you fast, you should appear as if you're fine, that everything is well, that you are well fed and everything, because it's not about other people and showing off. It's about you. And I'm not saying that's what you guys are doing. I'm sure you guys know, but like, I don't know, like just reading the Bible, you start realizing all the answers are there. All the answers are there. All of them. At least so far. It's just like, there's certain things I still struggle with. And I always come up with these questions, and it's awesome that I get to talk to my fiance about it, because she's been been longer in the faith and grew up in it. So it's been cool to have like sort of this advisor but then at the same time, I'm discovering things and sharing it with her, and it's great. It's great, guys. Like, I'm not trying to evangelize right now because honestly, technically, I shouldn't. According to the Bible, I shouldn't, and I'm not. Recent, whatever. I don't have to get into it, but glad you found Christianity. Yeah, I'm glad I found it too. But I know it's going to be a tough thing for my family. I have a hunch that it will be. I haven't confronted them about it yet, which maybe I should do, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have a problem with it now. I didn't think it would be a problem before, but I'm starting to think it's going to be a problem. And it makes sense why it would be. It makes sense. Why is your family raised Muslim? Yeah, I grew up Muslim, actually. Hey, Kappa, nice to see you here, bro. Did the wallet arrive? But yeah, I grew up Muslim, and I understand like how it could be tough for them to accept, because me leaving and becoming Christian is basically a personal challenge on their faith. I get it. But it is what it is. They're not accepting you. I haven't confronted them about it. I like to think that maybe I'm just postponing it, like, I know eventually I'm going to have to ask them if it is a problem, and I know they're not going to get it, and it makes sense why they wouldn't, and especially because Islam calls for certain pretty bad things to happen to people who leave the religion, which I'm not going to say, but you could look it up yourselves, and yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I know. But we'll see. I should ask them. I have a hunch. But here's the thing. If they do have a problem with it, I don't think they would confront me about it. They would just do what man, there's this thing in the immigrant community which I don't like, where if they have a problem with somebody, they don't say it to their face. They usually just keep it to themselves, or they slowly or they secretly or quietly ostracize that person. And I think that's possibly what's happening right now, which it doesn't matter to me, because honestly, I'm not in it like that, or around, because One of the cool things about having this as a podcast was I got a chance to like connect with my family on a regular basis. But since they're not a part of it anymore, literally we barely talk, which sucks, but whatever. So, yo, Kirk, what's up, man? How's your project going? So do they know? They know. I mean, like my dad watches my live streams, so he knows. He should know by now. My brother, my younger brother, definitely knows. We had a conversation about it. So at least certain members of my family definitely know, and I know they talk to each other. At least I am sure I've come up at some point. So yeah, it is what it is. He might be. My dad might be watching this right now, and yeah, or he'll watch the replay. Could you see any reason TikTok getting banned, or is it blown out of proportion? Any reason? I don't think they do anything different other that the other platforms don't do. As far as is it correct that they would be treated differently? I don't think so. As far as could they be banned? Sure, why not? I mean, like, it is, I mean, like, it's a heavy influence on the future generation. So, of course, America would have a problem with it, especially considering it's like, they try to pretend it's not like CCP, but it is, you know? So, I don't mind the banning, honestly. I don't care. Like TikTok is like I don't have a good relationship with TikTok, okay? I got suspended from live last week. I had a 7-day ban on a claim of misinformation and I appealed it and they couldn't give me a decision within 24 hours like the note claimed it was going to. And I watched the replay. I didn't actually violate anything, which I've been caught in their algorithms before. And so I didn't get a response and they can't even give me a notification. So I'm just like, you know what? Screw this platform. Screw all the platforms, actually. All the platforms are disloyal, exploitive platforms. And so it's tough that this is the only ways we can connect. But I think the middle ground I've settled on is being active on multiple platforms. So Vincent Monroe, don't mind me. I'm just here. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. As long as, yeah. Welcome to the club. Is that what happened to you too? Or is that what you're going through? Are they East African? Because if so, I get it. Yeah, they are East African. Yeah. So it is what it is. R.I.P. Kid Cudi. What happened to Kid Cudi? I remember Cudi. Did something happen? I don't know. Don't tell me. It doesn't matter. I guess it does matter if he, like, something happened to him. Oh, you're just playing? Okay. Had a chance to do some work over the spring break. Oh, you're one of those, huh? To do some work over spring break. Good for you, man. Try making your own platform. No. Here's the thing. I understand network effects, you know, and it's so hard to beat incumbents. That's why this is why TikTok is special. They were able to succeed despite the network effects of other platforms. They found a whole new lane, vertical video, which is not a new idea. There was this other service that was spearheaded by the major studios, Hollywood and all that stuff. What do they call it? I even forgot the name, but basically they wanted to like go into this vertical video space. Failed. What they've done is special. And so it's so rare. Everyone talks about building their own platforms. I think a better direction is to just make the platforms irrelevant. So don't compete with these platforms because you're not going to win. But instead you make them irrelevant by making them fungible, basically interchangeable with one another. And the key to that is giving content creators control, or at least a way to communicate with the people they've attracted as followers in a permanent way. And so, Kirk, like you would know this, like building, I actually thought about this idea a lot. I don't know if the timing's right yet, but building a shared sort of distribution list is sort of like an email list, except it's shared among content creators. And so I have this idea where, you know, it basically acts like an email list, or at least a basic form. Keep it super lightweight, just HTML, CSS, and then it's a form. It's a form that on submission, gets sent to a database. Cool. That's all it is. And the initial idea would be as an insurance product, basically to content creators saying, hey, you spent years building this audience, but it could be gone in a second. And so it's this idea of platform insurance. Here's a link that you could put in your bio that sends people to a form, a basic form. Just one field is all it needs, an email field, and then probably put reCAPTCHA on there so that you can reduce the likelihood of spamming. And then a submit button, and then on submit, it redirects to their main link, whatever. It could be a Patreon, it could be their website, whatever it is. Typically what people would put in their bio, but instead you have this intermediary step where they actually submit their email, and then that's captured, and just as an insurance product. In the event you ever get canceled on any platform or all of them at the same time, you have access to this list, and then probably integrate it with like SendGrid or something to be able to contact those people in the event of an emergency. But really, it's just an insurance product. But using that information and enough content creators, you can actually cross-reference people who do follows, okay, who follow certain creators. And so now you can build this like global or this aggregated list and find relationships between audience members and content creators and see which audiences are shared among content creators. And so essentially you can build, it's a crazy idea, you can build sort of like a customized Netflix for each audience member, like you guys watching, but composed of content creators that they follow. So the way Netflix works, you pay this monthly subscription and they decide how to use all that revenue to fund content. They either get licenses for existing content or they fund their own productions. But they're making decisions based on data, based on what people watch, and then making predictions. Instead, what if you funded things directly through a monthly subscription? And so you can pull all these monthly subscriptions. Let's say you all pay $10 a month, basically like a Netflix subscription, but your $10 a month gets distributed to all the content creators that you follow through this list or maybe through some social API or whatever. But I don't know if the timing for that is ready just yet. But I did run some ads for the idea. And so what website did I do? No, it was just like a card.co website, but interesting idea. So you're not even playing on the platforms don't matter. Let the platforms handle media distribution. That's an expensive thing to do. You guys don't even realize, like Kirk, you work in software, you know how expensive it is to push data to millions of people, especially when it's multimedia. It's a hard thing to do and it's very expensive. It's a lot of hardware. Vincent Monroe says, I was thinking of conceiving a platform like that after referencing a few APIs from past roles. Yeah, dude. I think there is an opportunity for that. And I think the best way to go about this is started as because it's a two-sided marketplace. You have to get users to subscribe to this thing. That was weird. I don't know. You got to get people to subscribe to this thing to be able to pay this monthly thing. But then at the same time, you got to get the content creators to sign up. Okay. Wow. You gotta get content creators to sign up for this too. And so this is the problem with this, is a two-sided marketplace. That's what they call it, where you have to get customers and content creators. And these are really hard to get off the ground. So instead, you focus on the content creators first and you sell it as an insurance product, which is a much easier sell. And the functional requirements are far fewer, and it's an easier build. It's just probably a static site that populates a database, and then you can worry about the data science of it later on. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But like I'm working on so many different things. But I don't know if any of you want to collab on that. Let me know. I think it's something that needs to exist, but it takes the right person. I think the right person who has that. I don't know. It's just something. My dad was ostracized for marrying a black woman twice. Eesh, that sucks. That sucks because I'm in that situation too. Weirdly enough, I am in that situation. Not twice, once. At least, yeah, once. Musically, yeah. Yo, what's going to replace Reddit once they go under? I'm thinking. I don't know. It's hard to predict the future. And it's also easy to underestimate how long things can last, even bad things. So yeah, it does feel like Reddit is going under, and they've been on the downhill for a long time, but I wouldn't underestimate how long they could be. What do they say about markets? Like, the markets can be irrational longer than you can be solvent. Essentially the same thing. The companies can survive far longer than their failures. So Reddit going under, how? They're going public. So usually as soon as a company goes public, I don't know. You see this historically. A lot of big companies, when they go public, they end up becoming focused on the short term versus the long term, and that's usually the downfall of. But it could take decades for that actually to happen. Even Google's having this issue right now with the whole like being late to AI stuff, even though they were the ones who wrote the original white paper for this, the all that stuff, and then even actually developed TensorFlow and all that for this type of operation. It's crazy how big companies, man, they can come up with amazing stuff and sit on it. It's just, man, that should give you some hope that as being a solo or young startup, that's nimble and willing to try new things, that you can compete with the big players, because they're like these like big monoliths that can't make decisions or moves, and everyone's accountable for doing new and interesting things, which is why they're afraid to do it in the first place. And so this is where I think people can win. Vincent Monroe, oh, that makes sense. Didn't know they were. Thanks for nullifying the ignorance. No, dude. Like, if you're not really up in the news like that, like I'm not either. I just heard it in passing. But yeah, I've been off of Reddit for a long time. I used to be heavy into Reddit, not as like I was always a lurker, but it is a great source for like testimonials. If you want to know how people's experience was on this like really weird thing, Reddit is a great source for that. But as far as community wise, it's a trash heap. Does Quora have communities that could be fire? Maybe. This your idea? Let's see. Pretty sure that would be pretty fire. Yeah, you told me about. I think it's a pretty good idea. Did you just say the word? What word? What's goody, Jose? Have you ever been called a narcissist? Maybe. Why? Does my content come off that way? Glazing, as you say. You know, I was looking at the etymology of that, the origins of that. I was like, ugh. But you know, it's funny. Like I recently just read an old book. It's called Obvious Adam, and which is honestly, it's a short read. You'll finish it in like 30 minutes, maybe even less. You can find the PDF somewhere. Just Google Obvious Adam. And if you're into marketing or you want to get into business, it's worth a read. It basically tells the story of this guy, this ad guy, and the different approach he took than most advertisers. And basically his approach at marketing and life was just do the obvious thing. So, it sounds stupid, but it actually like describes this situation in a really good way where, you know, if you want to know something about something, go and see it. Actually go and put the effort in actually seeing it in real time versus at a distance or through people. If you want to market something, and it's a good product, just tell people about the product, and tell them and just be obvious about it. You don't have to be clever with it. And I think this is my issue with like advertising and trying to promote stuff too. I'm too clever with it. I'm trying to be all artistic or not so direct, when in reality, I should just be like, hey, this is a thin and light wallet that you can fit in your pocket, or you can keep it in your back pocket if you'd like, and you won't even feel it. That's it. That's all the ad should be. None of this like, I don't know, trying to be clever and funny with it. It's just because it's probably not doing anything. That's what I'm thinking. So have I ever been called a narcissist? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't even remember half the things people say to me. Google is the king of canceled projects for sure, dude. Like they have a whole site dedicated, killed by Google, projects that they've killed. Good stuff too. Like Stadia is gone. So it's just like, man, if they stuck. Here's the thing. I understand I even talked about this. I even published a YouTube video, and I think I talked about it on live stream once, where I was like, if you wanted to start a startup and you don't have any ideas, just take one of the killed by Google projects. Like they usually open source the code if they can, and the way Google thinks of these projects is like, if it can't be like multi billions of dollars worth of a business, then it's not something they're interested in, because they're comparing everything to their ad business, which is stupid large. But to you as a startup, it's just like, even if it made a few million, even 100 million, like, to Google, that's nothing. It's not even worth continuing. But to you, that's life changing. It doesn't even have to make hundreds of millions. A million is enough. And so it's like, just look at the killed by Google projects, take the source code that they provide, figure out a different way to market it, find an audience that's niche, and you would make bank. Yeah, you have to know a little bit of code. You have to know marketing. You have to know how to like reach out to customers. You have to learn selling. You have to learn the entire process of business, sure. But the hard part of actually building a good product, which if you've used it before, or that Google product that they killed, then it's an easy thing for you to sell, or at least it's easier for you to understand that it is, it's worth it. So free game for you guys. Just steal killed by Google project. They're giving it away. Just start a startup that way and easy bank. Yeah, I do sell wallets, Vincent. Here's the link. Tamo.tv. Yeah. So yeah, I sell wallets. Here's the thing. I sell them because I make them, and I made it for myself because I wanted a thin and light wallet. All right, let me catch up with comments here though. Yeah, Glazer, Zesty Ash. Yeah. No, it's not nasty. It is nasty. Don't. Well, I mean, I guess on the right person, it could be. I don't know. Don't mistaken a pine needles for mushrooms. I don't know. Oh, you meant to say it is nasty. Thanks, Unc. I'm doing that. Yeah. So. Oh, look at that. Purchasing now. Thanks. Dude, yeah. Thanks for the purchase. I will make it. I make them by hand. I use a laser. You can, I put a couple of blog posts that explain how I make it. But yeah, I literally just make them. I got a whole table here where I make them. But yeah, if you like wallets like that, yeah, feel free. I'm reading How to Manage People as a type B personality. What's a type B personality though? I know, like, I don't know. I don't think you can fit a human in. I hate the word human because it sounds so clinical. I don't think you can fit a person into a category. We're all complex people. Sure, we have certain things that we lean in one way or another, but I don't know. What is a type B personality though? T. What does it mean? Type B personalities can generally be summarized as easygoing, relaxed, highly flexible. I guess. I don't know why. I don't know. Type B implies that it's below type A. And I don't like that because I think that's superior than a type A anal person. And I don't know if I would describe you as type B. I would describe you as Sigma. I don't know if women can be Sigma males. You're a Sigma female, maybe. I think that's what you are. Google it. I mean, glazing Sydney Sweeney doesn't sound that bad, not gonna lie. Who's Sydney Sweeney? Is that a white woman? Sydney Sweeney. Am I gonna regret looking this up? Okay. All right. I'm into black girls. Or at least melanated for sure. So that's my type. Color. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's cool. I've been with some, but yeah. I'm more of a, yeah. I'm one of those into all type of girls. Yeah, I mean, we all are, but I mean, Taylor Swift, really? They're trying to convince us this is, I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Or like Victoria's Secret models are supposed to be the most attractive, whatever. What? Why? How? No straight guy goes to a Victoria's Secret show to be like, ooh. No, they go to the strip club. It's not hot, yeah, yeah. But that's not going to stop him from selling it to us. Um, so that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm not like most guys though. That's what I've noticed. Like what other guys into. Like I don't think BBLs matter to a lot of guys. And we actually talked about this on the podcast one episode. Um, but to me, I'm just not attracted to any of the fake stuff. I even don't. I don't even like makeup, dude. And I know, ladies. Oh, you're not gonna notice it. It's a light amount of make. I get it. But it's better when I don't have to wake up to it, sleeping next to an entirely different person. Because all the makeup is gone. That's a hard thing to wake up next to. As a dude. Fortunately, I don't have that issue. So I'm winning, I think. The idea of a BBL is insane. You know what's even crazier? When you actually look into, I don't know, I haven't checked if this is accurate, but apparently after you get the surgery, you can't sit for a period of time. And so they actually made these special like lounges where you sit where they put you on your stomach to take you home from getting the surgery apparently. And apparently there's entire clinics in I think Miami or Florida or somewhere where they do a ton of these. And so they have like an entire bus with these like sort of lounges or whatever. I'm just like, all that seems excessive for some vanity stuff. Exactly. Taylor Swift is basic white girls. Yeah. Shape over size. Yeah. No, you can't. Even using the bathroom is difficult. Dang. That sucks. That's a heavy price to pay. I guess it's temporary, but then I don't know. Like over time, I feel like it might need updates. like like software. It's just like it starts decaying, so you just need to like tighten it up a little bit. You need to refactor it real quick. uh, um, let's see. Yeah, my brother X spent money on what they could have put towards a home on a BBL. Bro, that's how much it is? Eesh. Literally has to lay on her stomach all the time. Yeah, that sucks. And here's the thing. I think with social media and pop culture and traditional media and all that, they're trying to convince women that this is a good look. Like I don't know. I have a lot of because doing this content stuff. I'm learning like you can convince people to like things that are objectively bad, and I think BBLs falls into that category for sure. Hers, yeah, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy. Cardi B, good example. Good example. You have to manually separate the cheeks just to go to the bathroom. Oh my God. I didn't even think, I didn't need that visual. I didn't need that visual, Curry. I didn't even think about that. You got to separate the cheeks. Someone should make a device. That's an easy plastic injection sort of device you can make. Like the squatty potty, except one specifically for BBL so that it can spread the cheeks, maybe like a wedge. Someone talked about wedges earlier. Who was it? But yeah, maybe that's an easy thing to design. And then, oh, that's nasty. Uh, for me, Latinas over every other type. Oh, okay. Not spending your whole house savings on a BBL is crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. How do you know this? Uh, yeah, that's a good question. Just showing what's the context. We're talking about elective surgery, plastic surgery right now, and how BBLs are apparently you pay a really significant physical price for it, and have to change your lifestyle in a way. So, BBLs, yeah, that's why me and my natural body will be just fine. Yeah, that's always good, and it just sucks. Like the culture actually. I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel it's men pushing this or women pushing it? Or maybe I don't even know. Because I think it's so easy to point at men for like, oh, you guys have these unrealistic beauty standards. It's like nobody asked for this. Men aren't asking for this. Maybe black guys are asking for this, but I don't know. But yeah, that's why yeah, what the F? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know. It's weird, right? You came in at the right time, bro. I know a couple of teachers. No, women thinking men want it for real. Dang. Here's the thing: men are not that picky. We're not. Maybe there are some dudes out there who are extremely picky, but your average dude, like, who was it that said, diversity? I think that was you, Asher, right? You're diverse. I'm into all types of girls. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's true for most men, actually. And I don't know if women understand this. Like, we can have a certain type, we can have certain features that we like, but with the right girl, and especially if there are other qualities that sort of elevate you beyond the physical, man, we can learn to like it. We can learn to not only just learn to like it, we will like it. And so that's why, like, guys are male sexuality has a craving for diversity. And maybe this is something women don't understand. Like, we can learn to not learn, but we can appreciate a variety across a spectrum. Obviously, there are certain cutoffs on that spectrum. I'm not going to say it. You guys know. There are certain things that we won't tolerate. But then as far as like the physical stuff that every woman has, like, yeah, a guy can learn to like that type of body, that different shape, that different feature that you have that you were born with, even that different face that's unique or different or has some blemishes that he finds adorable, like, man, I don't know if women actually understand it, but yeah. Women thinking men want it. Nah, natural over plastic for sure. And that would be an interesting street interview question for sure. Like, guys, plastic or natural? And I think you'd be surprised. Like, a lot of dudes, there will be some dudes who don't care either way. But I don't know if there's ever been a guy who's like, I prefer fake. I don't think it's one of those things. Yeah, you're on Alta, for sure. Well, why is it so hard to get a guy? I don't know. Like, I know I've given the advice of online dating, but like, I don't know, maybe bake a pie or something and offer it to dudes. I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard. Maybe it's hard to find the type of guy that you want. That's the hard part. It's easy to find. There's plenty of guys out here. You probably don't even notice them, and you're probably not into them at all. But I don't know. Make the first move. That's just what we want. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big ask for a woman, though. And here's the thing. My girl's actually explained this on a podcast once. She's like trying to give advice to women. Like, you can approach a guy and just tell him, I really like your energy. I like the way you look. And I just want to tell you that I dig the vibe and with no pressure, whatever. I'm just like, do you realize what you're asking women to do, to put themselves out there? Do you know how heavy an ask that is for a woman? Because, yeah, it's tough for us guys to deal with rejection, but it's even tougher for women because by default, they have a sense that they should be wanted. And I get it, because like technically they are. Like, a woman has inherent value, just societal, just based on our society, and even just inherent value because of their ability to procreate or bear children. And so it's a much tougher ask. It's a much tougher thing to deal with. A woman dealing with rejection is, I think, much harder than it does. Even for us guys, it's already tough. Imagine like 10 times the feeling that you have being rejected by a girl is probably closer to what a woman feels. And so it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. And so like, it's a simple thing to say, like, go. But at the same time, it's like, especially women tend to be more in their heads a lot too. So then that one rejection, they will become obsessive about. And it's not something that, I mean, their mentals just work how they work. So this is where I'm trying to exercise a little bit of like grace and understanding to the female experience, because it is tough when your entire life you've been wanted, you have inherent value, and then a guy that you approach that you're actually attracted to, that you want more with, swerves you. Which is why women get super salty when they get rejected. Now it makes sense, right, guys? They get super salty because because it's such a big impact on their psyche. Make the first move. Yeah, tried it. Yeah. How many times? I don't take rejection well at all. Yeah, I get it. Because trust, I've been accepted a few times, but rejected a million times more. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Which is why Bumble is such a stupid app, essentially, because they're asking women to make the first move, and you might be thinking, "Hey, you've matched with each other, so clearly you're into each other," but that's not how a woman thinks. Just because you guys match on an app doesn't necessarily mean you guys are into each other. That's how they see it. And so, yeah, there will be points where you have to extend a match. I learned this from my brother. You extend a match to signal that you're making the first move. And on the app, when I was on the app, I would actually write in my prompt, in my bio, just say, "Hi, I'll take it from there," putting the onus on me and not on them. Because, yeah. 3, try more. Yeah, very much so. I hate Bumble, hate Hinge. Yeah, I get it. It's Lent, but different denominations may observe it in different ways. Yeah. Okay. So it's not just a meat thing, huh? Pause. Yeah, Bumble. You know what's funny? The investment into Bumble, all the VC money they got, and they don't even understand female psychology. That's crazy to me, that the amount of money that they got, that they raised, and now they are a publicly traded company. And the fundamental premise of the app goes against female psychology. It was doomed from the beginning. I don't know. It's crazy. So it's like, if you ever think about the startup VC world, investments and tech world, whatever, and you're worried about like, I'll never be able to get there because these people must be super smart, blah, blah. It's like, no, they're stupid too. They just have a crazy amount of money that they could throw it around everywhere. So, yeah. Whoa, Unks Walden. Am I? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, did I miss a question here? What do you mean, Unk? Answer us. What was the question? I missed it. Yeah, I was on a roll. Yeah. Oh, the meat comment? Oh yeah, Lent. Lent is abstaining from consumption of meat. Is that what it is? That's what I just Googled like a few minutes ago. Pause. Like, yes, I thought it was an appropriate pause. Yeah, no meat. Oh, it's every Friday? Oh, you didn't get the. My bad. Yeah, I know. I just said it there. Got it. My bad. Okay. Understood. Lent is no meat on Fridays. Why Fridays though? I'm gonna have to look this up. Lent, fasting. I don't know. I heard like maybe people choose different things to stop. Yeah, we didn't. Good Friday. Good Friday is the day he was raised or resurrected. Is that it? Friday. What is it? What is Good Friday? Before Easter Sunday, on which the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is commemorated in the Christian church. It's traditionally a day of fasting and penance. The Friday before Easter Sunday. Is that the three? So the day he was crucified, essentially. Am I missing that? Crucified? Yeah. Good Friday. That's interesting. That's called Good Friday because it's such a traumatic experience being crucified. Why is it called Good Friday though? Why is it? I would have called it Sad Friday. It's called good because the religious significance of the day for Christians who believe that Jesus' death on the cross was the ultimate sacrifice for human sins. I get that, but man, like, no, I finished reading Matthew, uh, book of Matthew a few days ago, and yeah, no, like all the people, your apostles abandoning you or disassociating themselves from you, you getting crucified. I don't know. That's interesting that they call it good. I'm gonna have to look into this a little more. Easter is when he rose. Yeah, so that's what I would imagine being the good part of that. But up to that point, because you can imagine, like at that time, like Peter disowned him. Uh, Obviously, Judas betrayed him, and then I don't know what happened to the other apostles. I think they all like left. It's I don't know. That's the day our sins were taken away from us. In the Catholic Church, it's the greatest thing for us ever, so it's good. In Catholic Church, that signifies us being allowed into heaven, basically, so it's good. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. It's good because that was the moment. Uh, Interesting. Okay. Good Friday. And when is that typically? Is it like Eid where it changes every year, or is it the same time, same day every year? When is Easter? Is it always on the 31st? Okay. Yeah. Hmm. So where do the bunnies and the chocolates come in? I don't understand that part. No? Yeah. Oh, so it is like, when is Easter every year? All right, I'm confused. It's much more deep if you want to look into it spiritually for sure. I'm going to be definitely looking into this. Oh, so it switches up? Oh, it does change because it actually depends on the moon. It's also lunar. Ah, got it. Got it. It changes. Got it. All right. There are a lot of similarities between Christians and Muslims, at least in that. Interesting. Definitely got. So this year it's on the 31st. So it changes. So wait. So technically, if it follows the lunar calendar, it moves. Or no, it's just around the same time. I'm confused. Is it like because like Ramadan follows the lunar calendar, and because of the way it works and the fewer number of days, it actually shifts earlier and earlier every year, around the same time. Okay, yeah, because I was about to say if it's like Ramadan, where it actually shifts earlier and earlier, there could be a possible time where it could fall on Christmas too, and so then it's hella confusing. But no, I guess it's the same time. I just don't understand. I'm gonna have to look into this, how they actually make this decision, and who decides? Is it the Pope? Around the same time. It's usually around late March or early April. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into the whole like bunny thing and the whole why the Easter egg stuff. That's it's interesting. Like I've been noticing like all these instances of biblical stuff in our lives that even despite not living in a sort of religious nation anymore, that are still relics, or still impact us today. I posted a video on TikTok where I was explaining like everyone has a problem with Chick-fil-A and the religious stuff and closed on Sunday, but their reason for being closed on Sunday is the same reason as the USPS and the same reason as banks. It's all Sabbath. It's all the same reason, and it's a carryover from a traditionally Christian country. That's where it comes from, and so like it still affects us today. It's whichever Friday before Easter lays. Yeah, that's the pagan side, I believe. Bunny equal fertility, but okay, yeah, I can see that. Ryan Garcia is claiming he has proof of elites sacrificing kids and telling you to look into it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, I've just been noticing all these like Bible influences all around us. Like, even if you guys remember the show, The Boondocks, the first line of it's a great intro song. But the first line is, I am the stone that the builder refused. And then I was reading the Bible, and I saw that line essentially, the stone that the builder rejected. I was like, is that where that comes from? Yes, that's where that comes from. I was like, yo, it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. This Bible stuff is everywhere. I ain't saying she a gold digger. Wait, no, that's not from. No, wait. Gold digger. No, wait. What? Wait, no. No. Come on. Are you serious? No. That's like the first song he plays in the Boondocks? Oh, okay. That's what you mean. I was just wondering, like, no, gold digger didn't come from the Bible, did it? The term? But no. Okay, yeah. But yeah, it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. And so I'm just noticing it more and more as I read and just get deeper and deeper into the faith. It's interesting. It's the first thing ever in the Boondocks. Yeah, for real. Yeah. It's a good show too. It's a shame because like I think they try to bring it back at some point, and then there was like some sort of drama, Hollywood Studios or whatever. And I like the idea that they were making fun of the platforms that they were actually on, which is sort of what I do here on TikTok too, where I'm just like, yeah, screw the platform, and here's all the problems with it. And I don't care. Kick me off if you want to. They're gonna do it anyways. Their terms of service are honestly jokes. Their terms of service are become whatever they need it to be. And so you realize these platforms have no values. They are whatever is convenient for them in that time. So when they're young and they're trying to grow and build an audience and get creators to make content, which is basically free labor, they're so open and accepting and supportive of anyone who wants to make content. Come. And then once they get big enough, then it's just like, oh, okay, we need to monetize this. Let's get the commercials. Let's get the businesses on here. But we sort of have to sanitize ourselves because, you know, a lot of these companies don't want to be associated with certain characters, whatever. So it's like, oh, no, we have a terms of service that are trying to keep our community safe, they say. Really? Safe? That's what, okay. Yeah, screw these platforms, man. There's a term for this, by the way, called enshittification. Enshittification. The transition that platforms have into becoming shittier and shittier over time. It's a cycle that they all follow. It's a great show, funny yet political. All right, sir, I'm going to have to see you later, Unc. All right, man. Yeah. It's nice hearing you here, though. Do you guys have anything? Been here 2 hours, but you look Arab. Okay. Habesha people are a mix between African and Arab people, I think. So I can see that. But I'm not Arab though. Oh, for Queen Being, you've been here since day one. I remember. You never say anything, but I remember. It's like I remember the day ones for sure. Real ones. For Queen Being. Yeah, I remember. Kept the same username. You did change the profile pic though. What is that? A candle? Yeah, I remember. I remember all the day ones. I remember all the day ones. I remember when I wasn't streaming to anybody. I remember when I didn't blow up yet or whatever. Yeah, I remember all the people who were here at the beginning. And even you guys here. You're still at the beginning. This is still the beginning. So it'll be cool what this can become. Beyond me, actually. Actually have a new episode coming out later this week of a guy I saw on TikTok, actually, one of his videos. I was like, all right, this looks like an interesting cat. Let me bring him on the pod. And it's actually a pretty cool conversation. He's an interesting guy. That's coming later this week. But it took me a while to actually finish the edit. And that's the thing, like, was it procrastination or was it waiting for inspiration? Perhaps a little bit of both or neither. Who knows? Yeah, so that's coming later this week. And then I definitely want to get into this whole YouTube game, making longer form videos with interesting ideas like mixing white cheddar Cheetos with yellow curry. Bomb. But then you mix it with hot Cheetos, it's even better. I posted that video like 6 months ago, but I reposted a section of that. If you guys are into Cheetos, consider that. It's pretty awesome. And then have some more video ideas, and then doing this e-commerce thing, and then building whatever I need to build to make it work. But got some positive comments from my, I guess, future father-in-law about the wallet and stuff, so that's cool to see. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But do you guys have anything on your mind? It's 8:35. I don't know if I have much more to share with you guys. Been streaming for 2 hours. I don't know. What do you guys prefer? Would you guys like more of this more often? Because what I've been doing is once a week. But maybe this could be like an hour and a half, 2 hours at most kind of thing, instead of being on here for like 5 hours, whatever. But I could do it more often if it's like that. Or maybe like an hour and a half or whatever. I don't care to make it a scheduled thing, because I just like the inspiration of just like jumping in and connecting with you guys. But at the same time, it's just like, I guess it's hard to be able to come on and enjoy this when you don't know when it's going to be on. So I'm like flip-flopping either way. But yeah, I appreciate everyone being on though. I guess I'm reaching the end of this. It feels like it. So weekly, yeah, okay, cool. I think I'm going to go with Tuesdays around 6-ish, around 6, 7-ish is what I'm going to target. Tuesdays, Mondays, Tuesdays. And I reserve the right to continue to experiment on which day makes sense. And I know you guys are used to the Sundays, but Central Time? Yeah, Central Time. So it'll be 7 p.m. East Coast and 4 p.m. Pacific. That's kind of early, but whatever. I mean, those guys can never always come on later. But yeah, Central Time. Tuesdays around 6, 7 p.m. Let's do that. Let's do that for the next couple of weeks. And then if I decide to change the day, then I'll let you guys know. See, this is where it would be cool to have that email list, or at least that contact list, so I can just update you guys and like, all right, doing lives. Or I usually give hella updates on the IG stories. So on anything that I'm working on. And so that's where I'm going to give updates to on posting. So if you're not following Table Moments on Instagram, consider giving it a follow. I do update the stories a lot. So do you think in 100 years we'll be selling real estate on the moon, Mars? I don't think in 100 years, man, you know, it'd be really cool. In like 100 years, real estate ownership is irrelevant. Like it won't matter. Land will be, and real estate will be an absurd way to own something. Like, why would you own a house? Like that would be a cool state to be in. Define how that looks. Yeah. So like the cost of housing becomes so insignificant that it doesn't matter. That usually requires technology to make housing so abundant. And if you look at population graphs outside of just people, like you look at animals and organisms in the world, they always start off at like a sort of flat line, and then they go through this exponential growth, but then they stabilize. It's called a sigmoid curve. And the human population is approaching that. Well, I mean, Africa still has to become mostly developed, categorized as a developed nation right now. They haven't gone through that transition yet, but like it's happening to China, which they were going through this huge population growth, and now they've gotten to a point where reproduction rates aren't if they trend as they currently are, it'll start to drop soon. Japan is already dealing with this. America is dealing with this. Our population would be declining if it weren't for immigration. And so like that's what happens. And so capacity is not the problem. It's not the problem. Eventually, it's not going to be the problem. And even now, like if you've ever taken a road trip across America, you will realize land is not the issue. It's not the issue. It's not a constraint in housing. Okay. It's the relative distance between where you live and where you work. And that needed to be minimized because you had to physically be somewhere. COVID kind of accelerated the remote work stuff, but that will allow people to be more distant. Obviously, you still have to manufacture things. And so, can you do that at a distance? Maybe, especially if like robotics takes a bigger role in the manufacturing process. But should I DM the IG account or TikTok? Either one. I'll see both. So, yeah, it'd be cool to have you on, though. Let's think about it. I'm game. Modular is becoming less efficient. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. Yeah, let me read the rest of your comment. Stick build homes always most efficient. It's zoning. Zoning is the issue in America. I agree. Zoning is the biggest problem. So stick build, I don't know. Like I saw someone posted on Reddit how they built a 3,000 square foot house closed in. Like obviously they didn't finish the house, but they designed the house to use standard parts, standard 2x4, standard sheeting, and designed it so that it minimized the number of cuts that they would have to do. So, and labor. And so they minimized the cost of labor for the entire construction. And it's still stick built, but even the windows that they bought were like off the shelf windows at a standard size. Even I think the roof trusses were also engineered trusses, so also standard. And so they were able to get a closed in 3,000 square foot house constructed for under 100 grand. Obviously they still have to do all the finishing and all that stuff and whatever, but I think that was really impressive. And so I think it is possible even to dramatically reduce the cost of construction if you were more purposeful about the decisions you made in the design of the house, which, I mean, making a custom house with all these angles and cuts and all that, that significantly increases the time of construction and the cost of it too, and the material use, because you end up wasting a lot. So I work in land use and ground up development. It's frustrating, yeah, and getting harder for sure, especially in blue states or blue cities. It'd be cool to talk to you about it more, because I think you definitely need industry experience to understand this issue and solve it, right? People will have a problem with like housing costs and stuff, but in order for me to actually be firm about any of this stuff, I would have to build my own house to learn it, and then build multiple houses probably. I'm not at the point in my life where I can do that, but long-term goals, that would be cool. It'd be interesting to compare stick built versus like timber frame homes with structurally insulated panels. I like the idea of the energy efficiency that can come with it, but I also understand they charge a lot for these structurally insulated panels. SIPs, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, but I'm sure you are though. Are you still a Muslim? No, I'm not. Standard comes at a cost of resale value though. Yeah, but if you think of housing, this is the future. Like, it won't even matter. People won't even think about like resell. Like, why would you even bother reselling something that's so affordable? You know, like, so I think it'd be cool to get to that point where housing becomes so affordable that you don't even consider resale. It's just like, it's easy to construct in a new place because zoning laws make it super easy, and you have architectural drawings that are reusable across different zoning areas, or across different areas with different zoning laws. And so Scott Adams actually came up with this idea, like simplifying zoning and structural requirements. I guess geography and weather issues and climate issues play a big role in a lot of this too. But maybe you can have regions of the country like, all right, winter climates, this house works in winter climates where where you have to build below the frost line and all that stuff. Could be a different thing. And so you can have categories of houses. And resale value, I mean, like, I don't know. If it's meant for housing, I don't think resale value should be a factor, but I know that is something people consider. We need more handicap accessible windows. Interesting. Are you? I'm not Muslim. At least not anymore. I never practice. That's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people identify as Muslim who don't actually like I remember even when that's the thing. Like, it's not that I converted directly from Muslim to Christian. I didn't even consider myself Muslim before I found Christianity, because I didn't pray 5 times a day. Like I even stopped fasting a few years ago. And so it's just like, to me, I didn't think it was appropriate to call myself a Muslim when I didn't actually practice what it means to be a Muslim, or at least the pillars, right? And so for the longest time, I was just agnostic, I guess. So it's not like Christianity drove me away from Islam. It's like I was already out of it, you know, which I hope my parents can understand that. My siblings can understand. Like I even explained this to them too. I'm just like, how can I call myself a Muslim if I don't pray 5 times a day? I don't fast for Ramadan and all that. So it's just like, those are 2 of the pillars right there. So listen, roll brothers, do it. Toll brothers, toll brothers, toll brothers. Ah, okay. New construction homes for sale. Interesting. You work in New York? Dang, that's a tough one, bro. New York, Connecticut, and Florida? Yeah. New York, yeesh, that's tough. I've been part of maybe 100 builds. Okay. Are you still Muslim? Are you Muslim? I said, no, I'm not, Mr. Mo. But I haven't been for a long time. Long time. Well, that's why I'm talking moving to the moon. Always happy to talk. Yeah. Interesting. The moon, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at it from an aerospace perspective. Like, either do you think you can use the material that's already on the moon to build and construct homes? Could you make cinder blocks out of moon dust? And you'd still need plasticizers or some sort of bonding agent to make the construction material? Because if you have to ship everything, I can't see a way of making it work without some sort of like dramatic cost reduction in the movement of materials into space, let alone the moon. It's already, even Elon dramatically dropping the price through SpaceX is not enough. Like considering like how homes are constructed from natural resources that we find on the planet. Like what natural resource are you going to use on the moon where there's nothing other than dust and dirt, possibly some water? I don't know. What about HOA? Yeah, HOAs also, yeah, you start realizing like the reason why house values and housing is so expensive is not only because of zoning laws, which I think you make a really good point, BK, about all the stuff you've mentioned, but also the incentives of all this. The people who own homes have an incentive to keep home prices high, especially because a lot of it's fueled by debt. So you borrow all this money to get into this house, and now the value of the house matters. And you can't have it drop because you've taken a huge loan to be able to make the purchase in the first place. And so the people who own homes have an incentive to keep prices up. Politicians serving who get property tax revenue from this also have an incentive to keep homes up. New constructions, people have an incentive to keep prices up because that's good for their bottom line. All the people involved in the whole making the raw materials to make home construction possible also have an incentive to keep prices up because it's good for their bottom line. And then you realize the only people who are screwed by high prices in the housing market are people who don't have homes. And then you realize it's like, oh, that's why prices are always incentivized to stay up. Buildings getting way harder though, and rezoning is the key. Yeah, but rezoning, like, why would people who own homes want to make it easier to build new homes? That would drop their property value. And then you start seeing it's like, oh, these are all just like self-interested decisions. And it's not even like material or physical limitations. And then you start realizing like, oh, it's really about, and then this is where I think technology has to play a role, where there has to be some player who's just like, you know what? Zoning is the big restriction because it's hard to overcome law. But I think it would be cool one day to help play a role in crashing the housing market through oversupply of housing. Is that a crazy idea? I don't know. BK, you tell me. Is that crazy? Or the internet could be the fuel for all this because it makes remote work possible or more and more possible. And because of that, people can live further and further away from where business actually gets conducted. And I think as you get older, you start craving those kind of things. solitude or isolation at least. What about homeowners association? That's essentially, effectively what, uh, except for a small community, zoning laws for a small community, essentially. Everything, yeah. I sold, let's see, I sold 100 community PUD. Is it PUD or condo? Do you think you will ever go back? No. I found Christianity. The planning board stinks. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Robert Jr.? But huge revalue because of New York City. Yeah. Can I get a shout out? Shout out to Mr. Mo dot three, I guess. Is that good enough? No, we ship everything everywhere anyways. It takes one big change. Maybe. The moon is interesting though, but I feel like it's a one-way trip too. If you're not praying five, does not mean you're not Muslim. You can still be Muslim and find a way to practice. Maybe I meant for me. Like that's the definition I use. It's like I'm not practicing. I didn't feel like a practicing Muslim, so I didn't feel it was appropriate to call myself a Muslim. I'm not telling other people that they can call them or not call themselves Muslim. That's up to them. That's a personal decision. Sort of like how the hijab is a personal decision that a woman has to make. And I'm not judging people on that. But for me personally, I didn't feel it was appropriate to call myself Muslim if I'm not praying 5 times a day. That was my value system. Property value and land makes people not want to rezone. Yeah. Why would someone with an acre want to build a ton of homes around it on 1/4 of an acre? Yeah, zoning is key. Zoning is key. You can stay Muslim and practice slowly. Well, I mean, I found Christianity and it makes way more sense. I don't know. I'm not trying to get into this debate right now just before I was about to head off, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to evangelize either. So I'm just saying I found my place in the Bible, is what I'm saying. I know it's crazy because it's like, oh, it's a book that's been changed. No, it hasn't. There are thousands, hundreds, possibly thousands of manuscripts that all corroborate each other. It's more like a historical document. And there's so much we can get into it. But yeah, all this stuff, I remember hearing it as a Muslim, growing up as a kid, like the Bible's been changed, blah, blah, blah. And then you start looking into the Quran too, and maybe all the things you were told about that aren't necessarily true either. But, and then I thought it was interesting that the second to last prophet is actually Jesus or Isa. And then you start thinking about the story of Adam and Jesus and how it's like they're bookends to this whole story. And then when you add Muhammad in there, it breaks the story. And so I'm just like, I don't know. That's all I'm going to say on that, at least for now. First, a home is the primary asset for most people. Second, it's a great secondary asset to hold. But I don't think they should be assets at all. That's my position. Like, why should something as basic as a roof over your head be considered? I get, yeah, it is property. It is something real in the world, so it has value. But why are people if people didn't treat homes like assets, we wouldn't have a housing bubble. People would not borrow massive amounts of money for it. People would not treat it like an investment vehicle, also raising the prices of this. Banks would not, or these investment groups would not be using it as a way to recoup or make an investment and turn it into a business. Like, there are certain things in this world that just shouldn't be. Like, a roof over your head shouldn't be something that people are. I get technically, yeah. Maybe I'm romantic about it, I guess. But I live in 2 acres on a nice house, and it costs just as much as maybe less than an HOA or financing. Yeah, I think people got to consider that land is not the issue. Let me catch up with these. Let's see. Why would? Wait. Yes, sister. We don't build more land, and the cost to redevelop homes becomes higher with inflation of materials. Yeah, I don't think people understand the value of a home is not in the house structure itself. It's in the land value that's increasing. Because think about a house like you think about a car. A car is a depreciating asset for a reason. As you use it, it becomes less and less valuable because of wear. Because over time, you can get less and less use out of it as it ages and it gets use. Same is true for a house. unless there's some other reason like historical or some other reason like that. But otherwise, it's the same thing. The house is not becoming more valuable. The water heater is going to go out. The roofing needs to be replaced. Maybe there's leaking issues. Maybe there's foundational issues. That just happens over time. And so it's not the house structure that is increasing in value. It's the land on which it sits on that's increasing in value. And so, like, I don't think people even, I know you know, BK, but I don't think the average person understands that it's not the house, it's the land. It's the land. And when you think about it that way, it kind of flips your perspective on it a little bit. So one more, please. Shout out. One more shout out. Mr. Mo 3. There you go. Can you say, no, I'm not going to say that. You almost got me, Noah. Remodeling increases its value. I think it's returning its value, unless it's like a upgraded design with better appliances. But if you're, I don't know. I don't know if it actually increases its value. If you're just, I don't know, because that's been an asset since humans existed. Back in the day, people just conquered it, I guess. Yeah. I think the word you're looking for is commodification, Ayman. Yeah, thank you. That's a perfect word for that. Ask your poppy. Okay. Yeah. The monetary value, yes, but I think you're just returning the value that had been lost from having an old kitchen when you remodel it. I think that's what's actually happening, or at least meeting the competition, the other values. Yes, property value is the land value. The structure value always drops. Yes, exactly, because you work in this, so you understand it. But I don't think people understand that. I actually have a hella old video where I was explaining this. I might have to rewrite the script for it and remake it because I don't think people understand. I was also thinking about making a video about amortization, explaining the structure of a home loan and how it works and how you can plot it out and see how you're paying mostly interest at first and then mostly principal at the end, and why it's structured that way, which actually works in favor of the bank. And so it's all this like whatever. I don't know. You think people getting into these big financial transactions would know what they're doing, or at least understand what the game that they're playing. But it turns out most people don't. And I feel it's predatory, man. It feels predatory. The same way when you get an 18-year-old to sign up for these huge college loans that they don't realize they will have to pay back one day. Like, it feels the same way, man. Like, a lot of our economy thrives on complexity and hoping and not only complexity, but also on the fact that people don't know. People don't know. And so they can take advantage of us. That's what they do. And so I feel some type of way about it. It's like, it's so predatory. It's a flux. A home value actually changes so much based off of desired use. Yeah, resale versus use versus second property. Nope. It's super simple to calculate amortization. To all you need is an Excel sheet. Yeah, but the average person doesn't know how. I'm communicating to a lot of other people, so that's what I think it'd be interesting to explain to people in a simple way. I've gotten that compliment a few times where people are like, you're able to explain complicated things in simple ways. Excel in real estate doesn't work. Interesting. You know what? I was just listening to, I think, the latest episode of the Alex Hormozy podcast, and he actually brought Dave Ramsey. It's a conversation between him and Dave Ramsey, and Dave made a really interesting point how people in the finance world are the only ones who ever do risk analysis on investments, but people in real estate never do. And so if you factor that in, it turns out your decision making becomes a lot different. Yeah, so this is the problem. Yeah, in any other asset class and other investment spaces, they never do risk analysis, but they will in banking, or at least they try to until whatever. Excel in real estate doesn't work. Excel in real estate has messed up the world for sure. Look up Lehman Brothers loan to own real estate, 2007. Yeesh. Talk faster? I don't think I can. I mean, a calculator and paper works just as well. Yeah, but I don't know. You understand it. I mean, CS, all that stuff, but the math of it, Like I actually had this conversation with my mom once, like refinance. So this is where refinancing actually plays a huge role in all this, because like it's like, oh, my monthly whatever and my interest rate will be lower, but then if you're resetting that whole amortization cycle, so you're going back to paying mostly interest at the beginning. So there's a reason why banks give this deal. Now, sometimes it makes financial sense, but sometimes it doesn't. Even though you might have a lower interest rate. And so it's not just about interest rate. Yeah, so refinance is kind of, which a lot of people end up doing. Anyone who can understand real estate deals through Excel don't get it. Math, not practically. I always costs more and takes longer. You can never predict the exact year to sell. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty to a lot of this stuff, especially when you're building something in the real world. This is where I think there's a divide between people who work in tech or in the world of bits versus the world of atoms, computers and software versus physical things. And so like in the world of software, it's like, yeah, you can always update it. You can you can update the repo and whatever, run a new build or something. Oh, you have a bug? Oh, you can fix it. You can transfer from platform to platform. You can test in real time. You can move fast and break things. You can't in the physical world. You can't do it. People expect it to be good, not only good, very good, and it has to be done right the first time. And so that's why things in the physical world are so much slower. Even just making these wallets, like I'm always worried, like I've gotten to a point where they are good, but there's always room for improvement. But then everyone has to be good. And then the more steps you add into this process to manufacturing something is more things that can go wrong. So imagine an entire house. It's a tough business. It's a really tough business. And it's completely different from the world of software. So yeah, it's a whole different mindset. So I get what you're saying, BK. It always costs more and takes longer. It always does. And when you actually do it, I don't want some Excel dork to forecast what I did. Yeah. Or you make predictions about, oh, here are material costs, but you don't expect the cost of wood to increase by 10% because you chose to build, or because of some like low supply in some other country, I don't know. My knowledge on it comes from just engineering econ. So obviously I don't know everything. Yeah. All in? Nope, I paid for the actual material. Yeah. And it's interesting, like I actually looked at, man, one day as a side hobby or something, it'd be cool just to build, just because I like working with my hands. I'm a mechanical engineer by training, so it kind of speaks to me. But and it would be cool to build my own house one day, just for the learning process. Which, I mean, there's so much. Being a general contractor has got to be a tough job, because you have to. It's a lot of. You have to understand all the trades. You have to do all the coordination, not only of just the people that you need to involve, but also the material arriving on the right time. Manage all the finances of it all to make sure the project is profitable and makes it enough for your work to be worth it. And then you have all these uncertainties. So this is where the experience comes into projecting the project. But then, like, there's always stuff that comes up, which is why you have that line item for like extras. You don't know how much it's going to be, but you're hoping it's a minimum. And yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Building in the world, creating things in the world of atoms, the physical stuff is so hard. 25, yeesh. See, it's very uncertain then. Nothing more rewarding. A home is dope. I'm a general contractor in there. Oh, okay. Theory, 25% plus. Yeah, dude, yeah, you definitely need the margin in there. Like even making these wallets, the margins of this, like it doesn't even compare. But, like that's why I think I have a hierarchy. I was thinking about this today. If I were going to put businesses on a hierarchy of respect, making things in the world is up there. Physical things, because it's so hard to get right and then make the finances of work. Software, I think, is below that. Necessary, but it's moving information. Now you can use that information to make things, but it's still easier. And then below that is like information, which courses, educational platforms, that's where they live. And then even below that is like OF. But I just came up with the idea today, so I haven't quite solidified fully yet, but whatever. I'm working a full-time job and I just started a part-time job. Am I in the right direction? Work is work, man. As long as you're learning from it, even if you're not learning from it, you're stacking up cash. Live humbly, live modestly, stack up the cheddar, and when you find the right opportunity, not like quick get rich quick schemes, but give yourself the freedom to not worry about money so that you can actually pursue what you feel like pursuing. That's the position I'm in. So I recommend it for people if you care to live that kind of life of freedom. What if I said 95% of handiwork is done by me or my? Legit 95% of handiwork is done illegally? Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, you think people get inspections when they remodel their kitchen? Maybe some of them if you go with like a licensed contractor or something, but if you're doing it yourself, you should technically get license. From what I understand, even if you do the work yourself, you still have to get it inspected. But people don't. That's $1 trillion business. Yeah, I could see that. What's Gucci? Nothing much. Just enjoying. Gucci. Maybe you can figure out how to build cost-effective homes that aren't made of paper. True. That's why I like timber frame homes with structurally insulated panels. So essentially, this method of construction uses these like giant timbers, or basically giant pieces of like logs, essentially cut into squares that build basically a scaffold that you can put walls onto. And so that's the structure. Obviously, you have to lay a foundation and everything, or maybe put like depending on if it's like a winter climate, you would need like below the frost line or whatever. But yeah, timber frame and then structurally insulated panels, which is basically a thick piece of foam with OSB on either side. OSB is oriented strand board. Basically, think of plywood. It's not plywood, but you guys know what I mean when I say plywood. And they glue it to this foam, and so it becomes like a Lego unit essentially. And then you use that to build the walls. And so you have this structure, the skeleton of the timbers, which are thick and strong and bound together, sheathed by the structurally insulated panels. And because they have foam in between, it's hella energy efficient. I was also considering this, BK. Let me know if this is even possible, but no utilities ran on any external walls. Is that possible? I know it's a crazy idea, but is it possible? I'm not saying if it makes sense. Is it possible to construct a home, physically possible to construct a home with no utilities on any external walls? Because that would simplify the closed-in structure. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm a dip, but I'm taking in consideration that job we talked about in the DMs. Oh, okay, for sure. Yeah. Let me know when it arrives and if you like it. I have all the licenses, so I know I can. Yeah. What is your thoughts about buying used car? I've only ever bought used cars, so I feel pretty favorable about them. They're cool. They're a great way. New cars have a huge depreciation loss when you first drive it off the lot. I don't care to be the one to take that on, and I don't think there's anything wrong with used cars. I've only ever bought used cars, so hope you've been well. Yeah, hope you've been well too. You're the person with that book, right? I haven't read it yet, but I did buy it. If you're the person I'm thinking of, BK, we need them. Yeah, you're talking Lincoln Logs. Yeah. Where you at? Okay. Let's see. Listen, said Santa Rose. Thanks. Not just for me, but in general. Wait, say it again. No utilities on any external walls. Yeah. Like building from center utility point in a home. Yeah. Because I'm thinking like, all right, timber frame. I don't know. I like the simplicity of timber frame because it could be something you can stand up in like a day or two, as opposed to stick build where you have to like build all the walls and a lot of that. Like if you get the dimensions right, you might even be able to use standard pieces. And so you build that timber frame on a foundation that's been poured. After the pouring, obviously you use bolts to hold it on. But then the structurally insulated panels, you put them on, and the SIPs is what they're called. If you don't have any external utilities on them,
Maybe you can run utilities on floors and ceilings only. I was thinking, because like I've been in office buildings before, and you can see outlets on the ground, on the floor. Yeah, they have covers and they're probably rated for a certain thing, whatever, but why couldn't that be applied to residential? Like, you probably know the reason why outlets are at the height that they are. From what I understand, if I remember looking it up once, the reason why they are at the height they are is because they are at the minimum height a constructor can get away with. They could be higher, but they can't be any lower on the wall, I think. But it doesn't even make any sense because that's not a convenient place to have an outlet. Because it's convenient to have an outlet on the floor because if usually utility whatever appliances you're connecting, they're either sitting on the floor or they're on a countertop or something, or they're elevated. If they're elevated like a TV, it's nice to have it high up so you can actually run the outlets there. But if it's a lamp, why does it need to be on? Now you have this cable that's like, what, a feet and a half off the ground, you know? So it's probably like a cost saving thing too, because you can use outlets like that, like a standard outlet versus a probably different rated outlet to use on the ground. But I was thinking from the simplicity point of view, if you could just put up walls and windows and timber frame skeleton, then you can close it in really fast and then do everything else indoors and maybe make the inside more customizable. So it's like an open layout and then you can design how you want it divided. So yeah, essentially. And also because of central utilities, let me see. Like building from a center point. Yeah. Very interesting. Oh, wow. Great memory. Yeah, that was me. Yeah. I haven't read the book yet, but yeah. Shout out to you, Claire. I want to buy a used car, but I'm scared of the maintenance. You can't go wrong with the Toyota. So stick with the Toyota if you can. Maybe not too high in the miles. I get it. Frame easy, utilities, 1 point. Yeah, basically. So you can simplify even the running of wires. The cool thing about running electrical on floors and ceilings is you can update. And it gives flexibility to the homeowner. Like, where do you want these utilities? How are you going to divide this space? And see where you want to run utilities. Plumbing, I think, is a lot simpler when you have it all in a central column. And it gives easy access, too, if you design it properly. So you can make updates or upgrades as you need it as the home gets older. So I'm thinking simplicity. Like Elon said this once, like the biggest mistake an engineer makes is optimizing something that shouldn't exist in the first place. And this is useful in everything, interesting perspective. So like ask yourself, does it even need to be there? And so that's why I'm thinking like simplified construction. And plus, if it's simple enough, maybe we can go back to the Sears homes where you can literally construct it yourself with a handful of friends. Like there's a company, I think in Connecticut, that actually teaches how to build timber frame homes as a course. I think it's like $1,500 or $2,000 that you can go there. They will teach you how to do this. And then you can go build your own house. And so it'd be cool to do that with my fiance one day, if she would be interested. Do you want to learn how to tile floors or remodel a bathroom? I think I've done floor tiling before. I don't remember where though. It's not too hard. You just got to get it right. So the actual act isn't difficult, but getting the details right, especially like if you're tiling a shower, you got to make sure they're tiled in the proper. But I mean, there's certain parts of home construction I don't like, which I could easily contract out. Tile walls. What do you mean, like kitchen subway tiles on kitchens or whatever? Like, I understand the basics of it. It's not too hard. I like working with my hands, so I don't mind it. And I would mind having to do it frequently. So if it's like, oh, you got to change the tiles every year, every other year, it's just like it's too often. Oh, Poppy asked. Yeah, no. Like, I like working with my hands. I would like to do everything at least once, and then I'll figure out what I actually like, and then everything I don't like, I would contract out. If you'd be interested in it, yeah. I would, but it's something you have to get right though. So as a first project, unless it's my own place, I would be willing to do it, but If it's somebody else's, like I feel like I'd have to get more practice under my belt before I feel comfortable doing it for somebody else. Because like, yeah, you can mess it up for sure. Like if you don't get good bonding or you didn't do the leveling properly, you can get some really bad tiling. So you got to be careful with that a little bit. Frame easy. If you have any advice, I'm not sure what you mean, meow meow. I like you thinking of utilities first. Wish builders thought that way. Yeah, like it's not even my idea. I heard this on Scott Adams talked about like redesigning homes. And he made a lot of interesting points. Like, why do we even have like dining rooms in houses? Because like I remember growing up, like the dining room in my family's house, we rarely used. There are parts of the house that people rarely use, but you include because this is traditional and standard. Like, what if you threw all the traditional stuff out? Not necessarily. Obviously, you have to have a. Before we throw it out, you have to understand why it's there first. But if you understand, okay, people don't really host dinners at their place like they used to. So why do you have this entire portion of the house that's only dedicated for things that happen a handful of times a year, right? Because most people eat in the kitchen table that's in the kitchen. So, you know, really thinking about why everything is there first in the first place, and then thinking it doesn't even need to be necessary. Or maybe like BK, what if you lived in a community where, like now that we have DoorDash, Grubhub, all that stuff, and maybe a lot of people don't even cook that much anymore. I'm sure people do, but it's far less than it used to be. So if that's the case, what if you lived in a community that had a central kitchen that literally made food for that community? Now, at that point, for certain people who don't cook at all, do they even need to have a kitchen in the first place? Maybe a microwave. Like even think about a microwave, like built-in microwaves. It looks cool. It's nice to see, but then when that microwave breaks, it's expensive to replace because one, you have to get one of those built-in microwaves, and then two, you have to have someone install it for you. Instead, microwaves should have always stayed independent devices that you put on a countertop. Maybe instead of building this whole nook for the inbuilt microwave, you just build a shelf for a replaceable microwave, dramatically reducing the long-term costs of updating housing, or keeping it maintained. Because like my brother owns a home, and I saw a bunch of things break while I was living there. And I was just like, man, homeownership sucks because you got to cover the cost of everything. Good thing he had like home repair insurance or something like that. He'd mess up just as much as you, not do it for him, learn it with him. Oh my God. Okay. Outlets need to be every 8 feet plus GFCI as needed. Yeah. In my own town. Yeah, that's true. Most towns, it's about not getting sued for sure. Yeah, you realize a lot of decision making is about avoiding risk instead of what actually makes sense. And so this is where the litigious stuff I think could be fixed. And this is also, I think, related to the zoning stuff where it's all just like legislation that's keeping innovation from happening. So, you know, when a politician talks about we need affordable housing, it's just like, bro, it's you, bro, that's getting in the way. So building has become more strict because of lawsuits. Yeah, that's also true. If you run from one point, what happens if something fundamentally changes in 20 years? You can change it from that one point. Like if you got to upgrade the breaker box, you can, I think, or if you have to upgrade the wiring, which is probably more likely, it's fewer feet of wiring you have to replace. Especially if you run it through ceilings and floors. Maybe the ceiling and floors are accessible. Like if you have a basement, you can see the wiring exposed. Maybe there's some rules about that. So maybe you can pull them off. But if they're ceilings and floors, they're a lot easier I would imagine they would be a lot easier to replace than if they were up the wall that you have to actually cut the drywall to find or route them. The worst thing for people to do is add speakers to their ceiling. Yeah, that's gotta be, yeah. So maybe, I don't know. We had zones because of heating back in the day, yeah. Easier to hear room to room than a huge open space back in the day. Oh, heat, yeah. Yes, real estate has always directly reflected the needs of humans and will change. Yeah, that'd be cool. A community kitchen. Yeah, basically, that'd be interesting. Because like the way Scott Adams was describing it in this podcast episode, he was like, the best time he had living was when he was on a college campus, and you had dorms, and you also had a central kitchen where you would show up for meals. And I was like, a central cafeteria. And I think back to my experience. I was like, that was so simple. Yeah, I had a meal plan, so I just showed up whenever I was hungry. I got 3 swipes a day, but I mean, if the community pays for it, or maybe you pay a fee, or maybe you pay per meal, I don't know, you can figure it out. But like, you can have good food prepared. And think about like, one of the things that keep people from being able to eat better, choose better foods, is the prep time, the cooking time, the cleanup time. What if all that was sorted? It's a lot easier to eat clean when you don't have to worry about making it yourself. And so think about the health outcomes of something like that too. Obviously, you can make it easy for people to eat junk too, but consider that. Like, there's all these other side benefits that can come with that too. Hey, Jessica, how's it going? Have to run. Have a great night, everyone. Good night, Claire. I'd love to figure out what that looks like, but to be honest, that's not possible globally with conflict. Yeah, I wouldn't even be worried about globally. I would just be worried about like small community here. If we can, that's the thing. That would be the cool thing, to just test it out. So even like all the stuff I've said, I'd want to test it out on my own home first. That's why I'm like, all right, let me see if I can actually construct a home by myself using this simplified design. Obviously, I would have to get my fiance to agree, and she's pretty cool. So she is open to new and interesting ways of doing things. Oh, you can do it? Yeah, man. I would definitely consult you for sure. And that's what I'm looking, Moon. Yeah. So I think it'd be cool. And it would be cool to just start off with a smaller home, like maybe 1,000 square feet, just as a test. And then see, it's like, okay, were all my assumptions about this correct? And test it out, and then build a bigger home. Maybe, I don't think I need anything bigger than 2,000 square feet. But then that original house can become a guest house or something for whatever. Building a home is like any manual. Does it make money? That's the big question. That's the thing. I wouldn't even consider that, because like the intent wouldn't be to sell. It would be to live in. So that would be interesting. I think longer term, I think you make a good point about factoring that into the decision making. I think I've been too focused on like the engineering part of it and the living instead of like the resale. Bad idea, LOL. Build a good asset. I don't know. I guess if you got to live in this world with all these restrictions or these perceptions people have about property, you kind of have to deal with it. But like, as we mentioned, it's not the house value, it's the land value. So it's about making the right decision about where to build versus what to build. So if that's true, which we know it to be true, then the house plays less of a role than we think. It'd be cool to be able to see how you would live in it. Yeah. That's also the cool thing. So not only do I test the construction of it, but I also test how it feels to live in something like that, where there are no utilities on any external walls. That means all outlets are on the floor or the ceiling. Kitchen might be the exception if you have counters, but I mean, I have crazy ideas like not even having cabinets. Like I know this is crazy. BK, tell me if it's too radical, but I like the idea of not even having cabinets. Instead, you just have shelves. Shelves are a lot easier to install than cabinets. And consider like why cabinets even exist in the first place. And I think, if I remember correctly, it's because of dust issues. But if you can build the house well enough that you can keep it sealed well enough, then dust might not be that much of an issue as it used to be. And if that's the case, then you can dramatically reduce the cost of kitchen installations, because you don't make rooms for your plates, essentially, with doors and everything. So consider that. Or maybe because of this, because you have just shelves are much easier to install, then you can, instead of spending money on the cabinets, you spend money on the cookware, and your cookware becomes part of the visuals of your kitchen. So you can spend more money on that nice copper pot set or plates or all the things that you use. That'd be interesting. And I kind of want to test that out with my own kitchen. And it kind of appeals to like my background in continuous improvement. I used to work in continuous Lean Six Sigma, 5S. 5S is sort, straighten, shine, standardize, sustain. It's this idea that came out of Japan and their manufacturing processes. But this idea, sort, you being able to see what your tools or the things that you need visually without having to like open doors and all that stuff, just from an efficiency point of view, for your workspace or whatever. It would be interesting to take it over to a kitchen too. Not crazy, more cleaning, yeah, fair. But what's the point? Because you can't limit cost, but won't help your home's resale value. Yeah, so none of these would help with resale value because resale value depends on people's current perceptions of what home should be. So yeah, you're making very good points about resale value. So if I were you, your agent, I'd say horrible idea. Yeah, but yeah. Let's see. 100 square feet is a tiny home. Does square footage include the basement? 1,000 square feet, which is like an apartment. So like, I think my apartment right now is like 650. So 400 square foot more than that, which would be good for, I think, one kid, maybe two, but I think that might be pushing it. But then by then, maybe the bigger one is built. You're talking like someone who doesn't cook or clean pots. Yeah, of course. But you're so smart. Kind of hot? Eesh, come on. You can't be saying that. My fiance is going to get jealous. She gets jealous. And you're probably a dude, right, Jordy? But what's the point? Can't limit resale value. So if you were, yeah, wait, I didn't mean say shelving versus cabinet isn't brilliant. Oh, okay. It may be. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't care to make firm statements about any of this without actually trying it out myself. So this is just exploration. And so like, what if I can throw away all the rules? First, understanding why they even exist in the first place. So that's usually my first step before I even consider like radical changes to home construction or anything really, is like understanding why the thing exists. I think there's like some parable or some like, about like understanding why that fence is there before you remove it. And so like for me, understanding the history and why it even exists before I even make any decisions about what it could be. And then once I understand it, and if those rules or that circumstance doesn't apply anymore, then I can think, all right, what can we do here that's completely different, that might make more sense for living? Not only the construction part, because I think you make a very good point, like resale value, if that matters, but then also not just being radical for the sake of being radical. It has to have some purpose behind it. So that's what I'm thinking. But, crazy ideas. And you know what? I'm realizing I'm falling into this like category of people who are just, I don't know if they're beyond the hierarchy, but like they're just outside of it, They're outside of it. And one of these guys, I've been watching a lot of his content, Rory Sutherland. He's like a marketer in the UK. And he definitely has that sort of creative mind because he works in marketing, he has to figure out advertising. And one of the things I think he said, or he quotes someone saying, the opposite of a good idea is a better idea. Meaning like there are things that you haven't even considered that could be so much better, but you have to sort of, you sort of have to look at things differently. And one of the things he also points out is being able to make magic in the mind. So one way to improve people's lives is to actually make things better. And that's usually a hard thing to do, to actually make something physical much better. Another thing you could do is just reframe something as in a different way. And then, so it doesn't necessarily have to be better. It's just better in the mind. It's better through perception. And so one of the examples he gives is like, it shouldn't be possible to make a carbonated drink that tastes awful, that comes in a smaller can, and then you charge people more for it than you would a typical Coca-Cola or something. But it is possible, and that's what you call Red Bull. That's what you call Red Bull, and they've managed to do that because it's beyond just the soda itself or the carbonated beverage. It's about the brand, and that's what they've done. They've created magic in the mind, and it's bad tasting Well, yeah. I mean, that's perception, but yeah, it is not a. You wouldn't imagine Red Bull being a good tasting drink, but the fact that it does taste bad is part of the magic because it makes because it associates. He made this point. It makes an association between like you know how medicine typically tastes bad, and so we make this association that things that we consume that are claiming to have medicinal purposes typically taste bad, and Red Bull gives you wings. And so it feels like it actually does because part of it selling it to you is the taste. Throw out ideas. I did that. I also just had to do it to get the medium. Okay. I wouldn't have combos like this if I didn't have want to build great. Gumball still is 25 cents. Sales is so dumb. LOL. Who the heck do you want to get sold? No. This is, I feel you on this. Like the whole marketing is so stupid to me. But then finally, when I stumbled on his stuff, I was like, all right, this is a way I can market in an ethical way. Because typical marketing is about lying or feeding people's vices. But instead, it could just be reframing. Like another example he gives is like trains. Like trains can't compete with airplanes. But instead, if they sold it as an experience, then it's not about transportation anymore. It's about enjoying a scenic view while you do your work with Wi-Fi on a long train ride. And so instead of like trying to compete with airplanes or other modes of transportation that are faster, instead you sell it as a different thing. And that makes sense. Trains are actually enjoyable. I've taken a 4-hour train ride once. Or a 3-hour train ride. If you have Wi-Fi and a computer and a desk to work on, it's great. And you get the rumbling is soothing, and then you get to look out the window, take breaks, and enjoy. That is an enjoyable experience. And they're not selling you on faster travel; they're selling you on a more enjoyable, productive travel. And so it's selling, but in a different way. Marketing is always selling the good, not the bad. It comes with inherent consequences. My business sells wins. Yeah. So I've noticed his stuff kind of like helped me square up this whole marketing thing, which I was having some hesitations about because I don't care to lie to people, but whatever. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it quits. I appreciate you, BK. It'd be really interesting to have a whole long discussion. Maybe I should dedicate a stream just to home construction and stuff. Maybe we can attract a bunch of other general contractors or tradesmen, and we can actually talk about this stuff in detail. Maybe share the ideas and see if we can at least conceptualize this problem a little better. And then it'd be cool to actually like go build it, but that's a long-term project. I got smaller projects I got to work on for now. Trains are pretty cool, especially if you get a private room. For sure. Like, when I bought my train ticket, it was, I think it was like a 3-hour ride, and it cost nothing to upgrade. Like the regular train ticket was like $30 or something, and I guess business class was like $50. I was like, $20 more for business class, and I get a better seat with the desk and everything. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, Amtrak. Let's do it. And it was cool because like they have they offer beverages and food you could buy on the train. And I was just chilling there, comfortable with my laptop out, made a beat or two. I was just messing around in Logic Pro. It was great. And yeah, it's 3 hours of my life, which would have been an hour-long flight. But I didn't mind it because I actually got to actually do stuff versus like have to go through TSA and all that. I was just like, bro, it makes so much more sense. And so it's like, and this is where creativity comes in and being able to sell something in a new and interesting way. So Rory Sutherland, all his videos are great. And his way of thinking, I think it's illuminating. It's illuminating. So if you've ever had a problem with marketing and selling and all that stuff, like I have, watching his stuff can maybe help you find a way to be able to do this in an ethical and more interesting and creative way. I don't know if I could close off this stream better than that. But I thank everyone for being a part of this. It's been awesome. It's cool. I am going to end this, but Kirk. Yeah. If you ever want to talk about the projects you're working on, let me know. You seem like a highly motivated dude, especially in the software world. Uh, Shout out to everyone who BK. Shout out to you, Jordy here, watching, and yeah. Peace, Ayman. I'd like more info on that one idea. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, DM. I think I DM'd you actually, bro. I DM'd you. Check your messages, bro. I DM'd you about something like maybe a couple weeks ago about whatever we were talking about a couple Sundays ago or something. Yeah, check your messages, bro. But yeah, it'd be cool to talk about software. You know, weirdly enough, this isn't the only account I've made content for. I've made content for another account for, I started a whole LLC for technology based stuff. And I started making content for that too. So I have a whole separate account where I think is soon enough going to cross 1,000 followers on TikTok. It's over 600 on Instagram. And I haven't even posted on there for like 2.5 months or something, or 3 months. And weirdly enough, I've attracted a lot of software people because I basically focus the content. It's a lot easier to go down a niche, guys. If you're going to do content, find a niche because it's a lot easier to grow. And so I ended up focusing it on based on anything I learned in software, anything content creation related. Those are the focus. It's tef.tech. I'll put it in the chat here. Let's see. How do I do this? Comment. Let's see. Tef.tech. That's the account. Or I wonder if I can @ somebody here. That'd be interesting. At tech. Yeah. Yeah. So I've been attracting a lot of like people in tech and software. So I think maybe one day, I don't even know, but it would be cool to just like source developers from there on a startup or something one day. Or weirdly enough, I was also thinking as a way to serve that community. Like, you know, tech is hard to get into right now because of all the layoffs and stuff, but companies are always looking for diversity. And weirdly enough, just having made that content, I've attracted a lot of people of color in technology in those spaces. So maybe it would be cool to turn it into a place where I can give recruiters access to you guys and just like, hey, here are all these companies looking for basically kind of like what Afrotech does, but not just once a year, but anytime, maybe like on a weekly or monthly basis, just post new job postings of all these companies who are looking to get, add some color to their staff. So that would be cool. I think that would be cool. But I've been focusing on table wallets these last couple months. And so I don't know. I'm working on too many things at a time and I got to stop doing that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Check your messages and shout out to everyone who's watched. I appreciate it. I'm gonna call it quits. One at a time. Yes, I agree. One at a time. And yeah, good luck with school. And yeah, let me know how your projects go. Yeah, you have a good one too, everyone. Bye. I'm gonna end on TikTok first. And now. Ooh, that was a long one, guys. And goodbye to you guys on YouTube and Twitch. One on each. Cool. How do you guys like the microphone? Am I loud enough? I'm gonna watch the replay and see what the sound should be dramatically improved from the past. Less echoing, less room noise, because I got this new microphone here. I'm not gonna brand it because they haven't paid me yet. No, here's the thing. The approach I've been taking with like brands and stuff is like, I don't mind giving free attention to stuff. So like got some merch or not merch, some tools. This is cool. They sent this, it's a electronic screwdriver or whatever. And then this stuff here, 3D wooden puzzle. That's cool too. And I already built one of theirs, which I can't show on YouTube. Otherwise, it's like, you know, it would get flagged for sure. So I'm not going to show that. But yeah, appreciate all of you guys watching. Have a good night. Tuesdays for now, I think. And I'll update you guys if I ever change it. New episode of the podcast coming out later this week. Have hit the follow button, I guess. Yeah, actually, hit the follow button if you feel like you like the vibe. Otherwise, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and I'm okay with that too. Yeah. Have a good week, everyone. Bye. 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 I don't know why I do the peace sign. I got to turn off the Apple settings that always put emojis here, or the like. You guys have